Chapter 118. The courtyard fell into silence. Shao Qi and Shao Shi were deep in thought. Mulan said, "Young Chu, where did you see this vitality sealing finger?" Chu Li said, "The arcane technique examination. I'll go back and study it." Mulan said, "Is there really vitality sealing finger or are you just talking nonsense?" Shao Qi said, "Elder Mulan, I don't have the guts, but there's no need to rush this matter. Take it slow." Chu Li gave Shao Qi a look. Shao Qi nodded to show that she understood. After dinner, Chu Li went to Shao Qi's house. There were 4 rooms in the courtyard. There were 2 bedrooms in the main hall and the left and right wing. Shao Qi lived in the left bedroom. When Chu Li entered, Shao Qi was reading under the lamp. The tallow candle was as bright as day. Her face exuded a warm luster like a fine jade. Shao Qi put down the book and pointed at the garden stool. Chu Li closed fist saluted and sat 2 steps away. Shao Qi said, "What do you want to say?" Chu Li sighed, "My lady, in my opinion, second lady does not have much time left." "You can tell?" Shao Qi frowned. Chu Li nodded. "It's not martial arts or medical skills. It's a Buddhist technique that I'm cultivating." "How much longer does second eldest sister have?" Shao Qi asked. Chu Li said, "Less than half a year." "Half a year?" Shao Qi frowned and asked, "Is she really hit by vitality sealing finger?" "Yes." "Can you determine that?" "Yes." "Then why are you hesitating?" "My words may not be useful. Moreover, second lady has a distinguished identity. It's better to let someone else take a look and find a grandmaster." "Are you not confident in yourself?" "My words carry no weight. Whether it's second lady or Master Shao Taiying, they won't let me do it." "If it's you, can you undo it?" "Yes," Chu Li said slowly. He was full of confidence because he could clearly see the situation in her body. His inner energy was strong enough. 1 palm was enough to undo vitality sealing finger. However, this matter was very complicated. His position was not high enough. If he was a grandmaster, the public house would definitely value him and give him their trust. He was only an innate master. Although he became a chief, he still could not be trusted. Shao Qi put down the book and opened the window. The night breeze slowly entered the house and the tallow candle flickered. Shao Qi looked at the crescent moon in the sky. Her heart was as calm as still water as she thought about the stakes of this matter. She understood Chu Li's concerns. Big Brother's side was an important obstacle. Big Brother would never trust Chu Li and would not let him take charge of this matter. Moreover, he might not believe in Chu Li's judgment and would definitely deny the vitality sealing finger. "Half a year," Shao Qi muttered. Chu Li said, "My lady, it might not be half a year. Let's take it slowly. We really can't rush this." Shao Qi looked at him deeply. "I don't need to explain the stakes of this matter." The reason why she trusted Chu Li was that this matter would not benefit Chu Li in the slightest. There would only be great risk. He was already second eldest sister's savior. Saving second eldest sister would just be icing on the cake, and the benefits would be limited. Once he failed, his life would be in danger. According to Big Brother's temper, he would definitely vent his anger on Chu Li, and it would be difficult for him to survive. However, she was fully aware of the difficulty of this matter. Big Brother was very concerned about second eldest sister and did not believe that Chu Li had such an ability. He would definitely not take the risk on second eldest sister. Chu Li sighed. "Maybe there's another way to solve the vitality sealing finger. I'll look into it." "All right, I'll get someone to investigate as well," Shao Qi said. Chu Li nodded. Shao Qi said, "Keep this matter a secret. Don't spread it out." Chu Li sighed. "Of course." Shao Qi waved her hand. "You go." Chu Li got up with some disappointment. He sat in the same room as her. He was surrounded by her quiet breath. There was an inexplicable sense of satisfaction and joy. Time passed quickly. He was about to leave. Suddenly, his heart felt empty and melancholy. He really wanted to stay here and not leave. He suppressed his melancholy, closed fist saluted, and left the room. When he came to the courtyard, he sat in the gazebo. He looked at the crescent moon in the night sky. His thoughts floated, and he felt an inexplicable emotion. He really wanted to drink a little to drown out the melancholy in his heart. Chu Li's ears suddenly moved, and he moved to the side. The omniscient mirror was activated. He saw more than 10 men in black lying under the flowering trees, hiding in the shadows in the corner. They were motionless, and they blended in with the surrounding darkness. He raised his eyebrows. These people in the martial arts world were really impatient. They did not want Grand Secretary Kong to finish his birthday. The omniscient mirror activated again, and read the scenes in their minds. They were actually 2 factions. He shook his head. Grand Secretary Kong had annihilated the 2 factions. These people were the remnants of the 2 factions. They had endured for so many years, and now they wanted to take revenge. The whole world would know about it, and all the officials of the imperial court would be shocked. He thought for a while, but he did not do anything. The Kong residence was not the public house. As a guest, there was no need to get involved. It would be easy to get into trouble. Moreover, Grand Secretary Kong had a Grandmaster to protect him, so there was no danger. He retracted the omniscient mirror, and only stared at these people's movements. The night was getting darker. Unknowingly, it was late at night. The entire Kong residence was asleep. Chu Li knew that Shao Qi and Xiao Shi were asleep. Guomulin tossed and turned for a long time before he fell asleep. The courtyard was completely quiet. Chu Li got up and went out. He stood in the courtyard with his hands behind his back, and looked at the bright moon without moving. The bright moon was like a hook. After a long time, the omniscient mirror saw those men in black moving. There were 3 of them in one group, and there were a total of 7 groups. They went in different directions. Some went to the main hall of the Kong residence, some went to the kitchen, some went to the backyard, and some went to the guest house. 3 men in black came to their courtyard. Chu Li did not want them to disturb Shao Qi's sleep. When they approached the wall of the courtyard and wanted to jump up, he suddenly appeared behind them. The heart destruction palm directly broke their heart meridian, and they died silently. Only 1 man flew into the air, and flew over the wall into the courtyard. Chu Li finished off the 2 men, and appeared behind him again. He killed him with 1 palm strike, and then he caught his corpse, and silently floated outside the wall. He put the 3 men together, and then flashed back to the pavilion in the courtyard. The Kong residence was in chaos. Soon, the firewood room in the kitchen was on fire. Someone woke up and shouted for help. Many people rushed out to put out the fire. The men in black took advantage of the chaos, and took the opportunity to take out knives to kill. Chu Li frowned. The protectors of the Kong residence were too useless. They did not notice the situation in time. He flashed twice, killed 3 men in black, and then disappeared. The rest of the people who went to the backyard to assassinate, Chu Li did not interfere. He only observed in his mind. When these 4 groups of 12 men in black approached the backyard, they each took a pill. Soon, their eyes were bloodshot, and their bodies were surrounded by a violent aura. As soon as they rushed into the backyard, a Grandmaster suddenly appeared. 6 black-shirt men surrounded the Grandmaster without a care for their own safety. They did not care about the Grandmaster's attacks and only attacked with all their might. It was obvious that they were death warriors. The other 6 men rushed into the bedroom and pounced on a thin elder. It was Chu Li's first time seeing Grand Secretary Kong. He was thin and short, with a snow-white beard and a pair of burning eyes. Although he did not know martial arts, he was focused and had a threatening aura. He faced the 6 men in black, and his expression did not change. Instead, he snorted angrily, "How dare you!" A gray-robed elder stood beside him. His left and right palms pressed towards the 6 men, and the surging palm energy made it difficult for them to move forward. The eyes of the men in black were completely red. They were like monsters. 2 men in black pounced towards the gray-robed elder. Their chests were wide open, and they took the palm energy head-on. They spat out blood and still pounced forward. The other 4 men in black pounced towards Grand Secretary Kong. The Grandmaster saw that things were not going well. He quickly dodged the entanglement of the 2 men in black and stood in front of Grand Secretary Kong. He attacked quickly, and the shadows of his palms filled the sky, hitting the 4 men in black. He originally thought that he could send them flying, but he did not expect that they would take the hit head-on. They only spat out blood, but they did not retreat. Instead, they got closer. The 4 men in black pounced at the same time and hugged him. Chapter 119. Chu suddenly appeared behind Grand Secretary Kong and punched 2 men in black. Then, a cold light flashed on his waist and 2 heads were cut off. Blood gushed out like a fountain. Chu continued to swing his long sword, and 2 more heads flew up along with the blood. The remaining 2 black-robed men were finally killed by the Grandmaster. He directly smashed their heads into mush. The whole house was filled with the smell of blood. Grand Secretary Kong frowned and covered his nose. His face was pale. He was tough and calm in the face of disaster, but he could not withstand the physiological impact. He wanted to vomit. Chu closed fist saluted and smiled. "You are frightened, Grand Secretary." "Thank you, hero. May I know who you are?" Grand Secretary Kong closed fist saluted and said. Chu said, "I am a guard of the public house. Farewell." He disappeared in front of the 2 and returned to the courtyard. The courtyard was quiet. The commotion in the distance could be heard faintly. Xiao Qi had already woken up, but she sat on the bed without moving. Although Mulan was an innate master, he was not vigilant and slept soundly. The entire Grand Secretary residence was in motion. The protectors were dispatched to search for the fish that escaped the net. Xiao Qi got off the bed and pushed the door to the courtyard. She saw Chu sitting in the pagoda and sat in front of him. Grand Secretary Kang's birthday banquet is not easy. Don't disturb second eldest sister. Xiao Qi lowered her voice. Xiao Shi's body was weak and she did not sleep well. Even a small movement could wake her up. If she could not sleep, her body would deteriorate. Chu said softly, "Too many enemies." Xiao Qi said lightly, "They are all people who bully the weak and fear the strong." Chu nodded. It was human nature to bully the weak and fear the strong. Their enemies were Grand Secretary Kong and the High Duke's public house. If they dared to go to the High Duke's public house, the High Duke's public house would definitely launch a storm of attacks and uproot them. Now that Grand Secretary Kong had retired, they dared to be arrogant. Otherwise, they would not have endured for so many years. Footsteps came from outside and quickly stopped. Chu disappeared in a flash and appeared in front of a group of protectors. He closed fist saluted. "These 3 people are up to no good and have been executed. Please be careful. My lady's body is not good. She will wake up easily." "Is that Protector Chu?" The leader of the 12 guards was a middle-aged man. He lowered his voice. "Master has instructed us not to disturb the young lady's peace and quiet. We shall take our leave. Thank you, Protector Chu, for your help." Chu gave a fist salute. The guards picked up the 3 corpses and left quietly. Chu appeared in front of Xiao Qi in a flash. Xiao Qi looked at him. Chu said in a low voice, "There were 3 fellows who wanted to come here. I was afraid that they would disturb the lady's sweet dreams, so I killed them." "You?" Xiao Qi shook her head. "This is the scholar's residence. Don't mess around. It would be troublesome if he killed the wrong person. After all, this was not his own mansion. Moreover, the other party might feel that he had overstepped his bounds and would be unhappy." Chu agreed with a smile. The next day, after dinner, Chu and Guomulan left the public house and toured around Jinghai town. Xiao Qi and Xiao Shi went to see Grand Secretary Kong. Although Jinghai City wasn't big, it was bustling. The two of them ate lunch before returning to the small courtyard. Xiao Shi was playing the guzheng in the pagoda while Xiao Qi was reading a book. The bamboo forest rustled and the small courtyard was quiet and elegant. Seeing that the two of them had returned, Xiao Shi pressed the strings of the guzheng and looked at him with a smile. "Chu Li, did you save Grand Secretary Kong last night?" Chu Li smiled. "Yes, it was just a small favor. Grand Secretary Kong thanked you. Hey, these tiger paintings are for you." Xiao Qi pointed at a purple lacquer box on the stone table. "They are all treasures and worth a lot. Tiger paintings." Chu Li was overjoyed. He quickly went forward and opened the box. There were a total of 6 paintings. He opened them one by one. Each of the tiger paintings had their own characteristics and were full of vigor. All of them were exquisite works of art. Chu Li understood. The artists of this world often used their own imagination to draw tigers. They condensed the fiercest existence in their impression into the tiger painting. It was the fiercest spirit. Chu Li gained a lot from these paintings. Seeing that Chu Li was grinning from ear to ear, Mulan took a few glances. He did not think that there was anything good to look at. He shook his head. "Instead of looking at this, why not look at the meridian diagram? What's there to look at?" Chu Li smiled. "This vigor is so strong." Mulan did not think much of it. He smiled. "Grand Secretary Kong only gave me this? Isn't he too stingy? What does Elder Mulan want?" Xiao Shi smiled. "As a Grand Secretary, you must have some rare ancient books, right?" Mulan said, "Those are the real thing." "Elder Mulan wants to seal the vitality finger?" Xiao Shi asked with a smile. Mulan coughed awkwardly. "I just want to take a look." Xiao Shi said, "I've asked Grand Secretary Kong before. He has also heard of the vitality finger." Mulan said disapprovingly, "Oh, as expected of a Grand Secretary. You even know about this." "The Grand Secretary knows the world," Xiao Shi smiled. "Not everyone can be called a Grand Secretary. Grand Secretary Kong has a photographic memory. He went through all the books in the Amethyst Light Pavilion. The books in the Imperial Court's Amethyst Light Pavilion are more abundant than our public house." "Then does he know the solution to the vitality finger?" "Yes, just like what Chu Li said." "Is there no other way?" "No." Xiao Shi looked at Chu Li. "Chu Li, do you dare to help me?" Chu Li smiled. "Why wouldn't I dare?" Xiao Shi said, "If Elder Mulan is diagnosed, if it's really the vitality finger, you will help me solve it. I'll go back and figure out this vitality finger. I'll study it carefully." Mulan said, "What if it's not?" Chu Li looked at the painting, smiled and shook his head. Chu Li visualized the art of White Tiger in his mind. A white tiger leaped into the void of his mind, and made various postures to attract the invisible force from the void into his body, strengthening his body. As the aura of the white tiger grew, the invisible force in the void became more and more vigorous. When he first saw the sun cultivating white tiger portrait, this invisible force was like a gentle breeze. Now it had become a strong gust of wind. He could clearly feel that every time he cultivated, his body would become slightly stronger. After a long period of accumulation, he did not know how strong he would become. In the following 2 days, the Grand Secretary's residence was very lively, but there were no more assassinations. The failure of that group of people made those who were eager to make trouble understand that the Grand Secretary's residence was not that easy to break into. Chongming Town South Gate. The passers-by slowed down their footsteps and kept their mouths shut. They passed by silently. A group of protectors from the public house surrounded a handsome middle-aged man. They were motionless and a murderous aura filled the air. The passers-by did not dare to make a sound. The handsome middle-aged man had sharp eyebrows and bright eyes. He stood there quietly. His luxurious temperament was naturally revealed. People did not dare to look at him directly. It was the eldest master of the public house, Xiao Taiying. "Master, I'll send someone to take a look." The elder in the green robe beside Xiao Taiying said in a low voice. Xiao Taiying waved his hand. No need. Just wait for a while. Yes. The elder with white eyebrows and beard said in a low voice. This elder's eyebrows and beard were all white. His face was ruddy like a baby's. It showed that he had a profound cultivation level. Xiao Taiying said, Lin Quan, when can you get the longevity grass? Master, it's already on the way. Lin Quan said in a low voice. It will probably take half a month to enter the public house. Good, good. Xiao Taiying said. There must be no accident. After taking this, I believe that second younger sister's body will recover. Chapter 120. Xiao Taiying scoffed. The Ren public house is getting more and more out of hand. If it wasn't for third younger sister, second younger sister would have been dead. Lu Yurong has really gone crazy. Master, I don't think her target is the second lady. The key is our grandmasters. They sent 7 grandmasters over. It's obvious that they want to get rid of our grandmasters. Elder Lin Quan said. Yes, third younger sister thinks so too. Xiao Taiying scoffed. She really thinks we're made of mud. Master, it's not the right time to start a war. Lin Quan said softly. Xiao Taiying said, we have to teach Lu Yurong a lesson. She's too reckless. They've suffered heavy losses this time. They've lost a grandmaster. Their strength has been greatly reduced. At least they've vented their anger. Lin Quan smiled. Congratulations, third lady. You have such a talented subordinate. This Chu Li. Xiao Taiying frowned. Lin Quan said, Master, do you have any concerns? He's young and not mature enough. Plus, he's only been in the public house for a short time. Xiao Taiying said, I don't feel safe using him. He risked his life to save second lady. Lin Quan smiled. There's no doubt that he's loyal. As for being mature, he's still young. It's not a good thing to be too mature. That's true. Xiao Taiying nodded slowly. I'm being too harsh. No matter what, I have to reward him for saving second younger sister. Lin Quan smiled. I'm sure third lady will reward him well. Master, you don't have to worry. Xiao Taiying. This third younger sister. Xiao Taiying said helplessly. I can't do anything about her. Third lady has put in a lot of effort. Lin Quan said, Third lady is talented enough. Master, why do you have to bear all the burden? It's not a bad idea to let third lady share her burden. Among the 4 of us, third younger sister has the highest talent in martial arts. Although fourth younger brother is good, he's still far behind third younger sister. We'll have to count on third younger sister in the future, but she has to be distracted by mundane tasks. Xiao Taiying shook his head and sighed. There's no point persuading her. In order to step into the heavenly god realm, the most important thing was one's comprehension and talent. Although he and his fourth brother's talent was not bad, it was far from his third sister's. They had no hope of reaching the heavenly god realm, but his third sister had a chance. Once they stepped into the enlightened mastery's boundary, the High Duke's public house would no longer have to worry. No one would dare to provoke them. Even the imperial family would not dare to touch the Shao clan. This was the real help to the High Duke's public house. Although he was tired, he was still in the prime of his life, so he could still bear it. However, third sister didn't agree with his idea and kept distracting him. He knew she was doing it out of kindness, which made him angry and helpless. Lin Quan smiled and shook his head. The 4 siblings were very close to each other. Perhaps it was because the High Duke had always been in isolation and their mothers were no longer around, so they supported each other and had a deep bond. Moreover, there were no conflicts of interest. The eldest son inherited the house of High Duke, the youngest son was a martial arts fanatic, the second lady had a delicate body, and the third lady had an unworldly heart. They worked together to reverse the decline of the house of High Duke. They're here! Xiao Taiying suddenly shouted. In the distance, A cloud of yellow dust rose up from the main road as a group of people slowly approached. It was Xiao Shi, Xiao Qi, and the others. Xiao Taiying could not wait to welcome them. Xiao Qi's white robe was still spotless and her expression was cold. She got off her horse in front of Xiao Taiying and looked around. "Big brother, what's with such a big crowd?" Xiao Taiying smiled. "You've done a great service this time, of course we have to welcome you." Xiao Qi knew what he was talking about. Her expression was calm. "It's all right." Xiao Shi opened the curtain of the carriage, revealing her face with a white veil. She looked around and raised her voice in dissatisfaction. "Big brother, why did you bring so many people? Let's go back to the house." Yes, let's go back." Xiao Taiying quickly nodded and asked carefully, "Second sister, how's your body?" "Yes, it's quite good." Xiao Shi put down the curtain and sat back down. Xiao Taiying followed beside the horse carriage and walked together with Xiao Qi. His eagle-like eyes swept across Hai Qingshan and Chu Li, stopping on Chu Li's face. Chu Li closed fist saluted. Xiao Taiying nodded and turned back to talk to Xiao Qi. When Xueling saw that Chu Li had returned, her expression was cold. She only made a few more dishes and a jar of wine. She served him attentively but did not show any happy expression. It was as if she did not care about him coming and going. Chu Li raised his cup and gently swirled it. The white jade cup reflected the green wine. It was full of vitality. He could not help but have the urge to drink it all in one gulp. He wanted to drink the vitality together with it. "Did anything happen these few days?" Chu Li asked casually. The breeze was gentle and the bright moon shone its light. The scenery of the courtyard was beautiful. The bamboo forest at the west corner rustled like the sound of nature. Xueling was dressed in a spotless white robe. Her face was cold. "Nothing much." "Oh right, Master's good friend is in the limelight." Chu Li glanced at her. Xueling said, "Sister Zhaoying. What happened to her?" Chu Li frowned. Xueling said, "Someone was causing trouble in the Leisure Cloud pub. Sister Zhao Ying made a move and broke the legs of more than 10 people. Who were they?" Chu Li scoffed and said impatiently, "Tell me everything in one breath." It seems that a group of disciples from the Phoenix Tree faction came to the Leisure Cloud pub and teased the maid of the pub. They angered Sister Zhaoying. Sister Zhaoying broke all their legs and threw them outside the pub. Their screams were terrifying. I heard that the business of the Leisure Cloud pub is even better now. Xueling said everything in one breath. Chu Li frowned. "Is it really Sister Zhaoying?" "It can't be wrong. I've confirmed it." Xueling nodded hard. "Master doesn't believe me?" Chu Li scoffed. "It seems that those people went too far." Sister Zhaoying's temper was very soft. She was not suitable for the martial arts world. She would not make a move easily. To be able to break their legs in a moment of anger, this group of people from the Phoenix Tree faction must have done something wrong. They must have really angered Zhao Ying for her to be so heavy-handed. Xueling said, "The Phoenix Tree faction is also considered a big faction. They dared to be presumptuous in the town. Of course, their martial arts are not bad. I heard that they have a few innate masters. In the end, they were still taken care of by Sister Zhaoying. Sister Zhaoying's reputation is now very good." Chu Li nodded thoughtfully. Zhaoying's swallow blade technique was exquisite. She had a deep understanding of it. In addition to her innate mastery, the average innate master could not beat her. He glanced at Xueling and smiled. "You are very envious of Sister Zhaoying, right? Master, when can I be like Sister Zhaoying?" Xueling's bright eyes stared at him. "If you want to break through to the innate mastery's boundary, it will be much more difficult than Sister Zhaoying. Take your time." Xueling looked disappointed and sighed. "I'll help you circulate after eating." Chu Li drank his wine. Xueling filled his cup. Her cold face showed a smile. "Thank you, Master." She had been persisting in practicing hard these days. However, the result made her feel even more hopeless. She had been practicing hard these days, but it was not as good as Master helping her practice for a night. The gap between people was too big. One was heaven while the other was earth. Heaven was unfair. Chapter 121. After dinner, Chu helped her cultivate for the whole night. His spirit was strong and Schwelling's progress was extremely fast. In just one night, she had broken through 2 acupuncture points. She was one step closer to the innate mastery boundary. A smile appeared on Schwelling's cold face. During breakfast the next day, Su-Ru arrived in a yellow gown. Her face was bright and her eyes were smiling. She entered the courtyard and glanced at the Glory's Will tree first. The height of the Glory's Will tree had already reached her waist, and its growth was gratifying. Her smile grew even wider as she gracefully walked to the gazebo and sat in front of Chu. Chu smelled the fragrance from her body and smiled. "What's so happy about, Chief? You've been promoted to the chief. Is that a good thing?" Su-Ru chuckled. Schwelling carried the white jade teacup into the pagoda and gently passed it to her. She looked at Chu in surprise. Su-Ru smiled and said, "Schwelling, your young master has made a name for himself. From today onwards, he will be promoted to Glory's Will Institute's general manager." "Chief of the Glory's Will Institute?" Schwelling asked doubtfully. "I don't think I've heard of the Glory's Will Institute. The Skysoul Institute is this small courtyard of yours." Su-Ru pursed her lips and smiled. "No matter what, the chief is the chief. Chu, you can have 10 scribes, 20 protectors, including 2 innate masters." Chu shook his head and could not help but laugh. "There's no need for so many people. You can summon the guards at the martial arts hall at any time." Su-Ru said, "As for the Imperial bodyguards, you can choose them at any time. It's up to you whether you want to choose or not. In any case, the Skysoul Institute will pay you directly." Chu smiled. "How many?" 10,000 taels of silver every month." "So many?" Schwelling's eyes widened. The Skysoul Institute didn't need to care about the salaries of the guards and guards. The 10,000 taels of silver was used for work and reward. "That's not a lot." Su-Ru took a sip of tea. "In the future, if you perform meritorious deeds, it will increase. Have you heard about Zhaoying?" "I heard the gist of it, but Schwelling did not elaborate." "This bunch of fellows from Phoenix Tree faction." Su-Ru scoffed. "Feng Shikai has a younger brother who is an elder of Phoenix Tree faction." "You've got guts." Chu Li's face darkened. "They're probably testing the waters." Su-Ru smiled. When Zhaoying made her move, they retreated in fear. "Phoenix Tree faction," Chu Li muttered. "This Phoenix Tree faction cannot be underestimated either," Su-Ru said. "In recent years, their power has increased greatly and there are a few young talents in the faction. There are signs of resurgence." "They dared to challenge the High Duke's public house?" Chu Li frowned. Zhao Ying's identity was by no means a secret. A simple investigation would reveal that attacking Zhao Ying in Chongming Town was equivalent to provoking the High Duke's public house. Su-Ru sneered. "Our manor has been weak these few years and people are looking down on us more and more. By provoking our manor, Phoenix Tree faction has made a name for themselves and they have a wishful thinking. Aren't you afraid of the guards? They also calculated their limits. The only thing they miscalculated was that they didn't expect Zhao Ying's martial arts to be so powerful." Su-Ru pursed her lips and smiled. "Who could see that the delicate and weak Zhao Ying has such martial arts? It's all thanks to you." Chu Li waved his hand. "They are honest this time. They know that the High Duke's public house is not a place that any Tom, Dick or Harry can provoke." Su-Ru scoffed and laughed again. "Speaking of which, it's still Zhao Ying who did the work." "Sister Zhao Ying has worked hard," Chu Li sighed. Since the opening of the Leisure Cloud pub, Zhao Ying had been sitting there. She did not leave even for a moment as she was afraid that someone would bully those poor women. "It's rare that her martial arts did not fall behind," Su-Ru said, "but that place is quite suitable for her." Zhao Ying's temper was too soft and she was not suitable to be a protector outside the public house. She had already suggested to the martial arts hall to set up the protector of the Leisure Cloud pub as a mission so that Zhao Ying would not need to go on other missions and could always stay in the Leisure Cloud pub. Chu Li changed the topic. Chief, can the art of White Tiger be taught to outsiders? Who do you want to teach it to? Suru was surprised. This was an ancient martial art. It was mysterious and unpredictable. The first and second volumes were combined into one and it was a rare torso tuning technique. Although the threshold was a little high and the average person could not cultivate it, Chu Li said, the Sisters of the Leisure Cloud pub, they can cultivate it? Suru laughed, stop joking. If the lady could not cultivate it, could they? That was simply impossible. I have a trick. What is it? The Buddhist sex enlightenment technique. No matter what method, Suru said disapprovingly, didn't you say that forcefully cultivating it would hurt your spirit? I can add the art of White Tiger into the beginner's basic section. First, I'll cultivate the basics. Then, I'll slowly cultivate the art of White Tiger. There's such a good thing. Suru said, then let me try it first. Can it be taught to them? Suru frowned and thought for a while. I'll have to ask the lady. Chu Li nodded. This was reasonable. The art of White Tiger was priceless. How could it be taught to others so easily? Not only was it unfair, it would also cause trouble in the future. Suru said, try to enlighten me first. Let's see if your method works. Chu Li smiled, Chief, do you really dare to try it? Do you think you can harm me? Suru smiled disapprovingly. When do you want to try it? I can do it now. Come on then. Suru put down her teacup. Chu Li got up and sat beside her. He smiled, Chief, calm down. As he spoke, he slowly pressed his right palm on top of Suru's head. Suru did not move. She looked at him with a smile. The two of them were very close. He could hear her breathing. Her breath smelled like orchids. Her eyes were as clear as the lake. Her skin was smooth and her facial features were delicate. The closer he got to her, the more beautiful she became. Close your eyes, Chu Li said. Suru closed her eyes and smiled. That's it? Chu Li did not answer. He performed the Buddhist enlightenment technique and poured the art of White Tiger into her mind. Through looking at the ferocious tiger portrait, Chu Li gained a great understanding. Observing from the sidelines, he expanded the sun-cultivating White Tiger portrait. Every tiger portrait could be transformed into a sun-cultivating White Tiger portrait. However, their auras differed, and their effects were also different. They were divided into different grades. The aura of the White Tiger that was poured into Suru's mind was weak. Through this art of White Tiger, she could absorb the invisible force in the void like a gentle breeze. The effect was weak, but it could be accumulated to a certain extent. Chu Li let go of her hand. Suru opened her eyes and then closed them again. She tried to visualize it in her mind. Sure enough, there was a white tiger jumping and making movements. There was a weak force entering her body. It really is the art of White Tiger. She stared at Chu Li in surprise. Chu Li smiled. Cultivate for a while first. When your spirit is stronger, then you can cultivate the next one. Chu Li, you're amazing, Suru said excitedly. She understood Chu Li's plan. He weakened the aura of the White Tiger. The effect might be weaker, but it was better than not being able to cultivate at all. The original art of White Tiger's requirements were too high. Normal people could not cultivate it. She could not wait to get up. She waved at Chu Li and fluttered out of the courtyard. Xueling looked at him curiously. Chu Li said, You can't cultivate it. Why? Xueling asked disappointedly. Chu Li smiled. It's best to try the torso tuning technique when you reach the innate mastery's boundary. Although the art of White Tiger was mysterious, he did not know if it would hinder the breakthrough to the innate mastery's boundary. Chen Ying and the others were different. They were old and their foundations were damaged. He planned to let them walk another path. The innate mastery's boundary. Xue Ling's cold face showed helplessness. It was too far to reach. Su Ru quickly returned and smiled. Lady Xiao agreed, but only the first half of the book. And Chu Li was listening attentively. Su Ru said, "You're only allowed to teach them through enlightenment. You can't look at the secret book." The inheritance obtained through enlightenment was different from the secret book. It could only be learned by accident and could not be passed down through word. Drawing the white tiger in one's mind onto a piece of paper, not to mention how good one's drawing skills must be, it would be useless for others to see it. "Thank you, Lady Xiao." Chu Li smiled. Chapter 122. When Chu Li arrived at the mansion in the city, the ladies were all there. When they saw him, they all looked at him in surprise. Zhao Ying glared at him resentfully. Chu Li smiled at the ladies. They were busy with their own things, and were not idle at all. Some were embroidering, some were pruning, some were cultivating, some were cutting clothes, and some were reading. The entire residence was bustling with activity. Zhao Ying was dressed in a green gown. Her footsteps were light as she welcomed him. "Senior brother." Chu Li smiled. "Thank you for your hard work, junior sister. How have you been lately?" "You're not going out this time, right?" Zhao Ying snorted. "It can calm down for a while." Chu Li smiled. "What's going on with the Phoenix Tree faction?" Zhao Ying's pretty face immediately darkened and she snorted, "Don't mention them. Lecher, scum." Chu Li smiled. "Do you want me to teach them a lesson?" Zhao Ying pursed her red lips, thought about it, and nodded. "It's good to teach them a lesson. These people are too bad. A bunch of people are bad. The Phoenix Tree faction isn't any good either." She was angry at the thought of that time. These scoundrels wanted all the women in Leisure Cloud pub to have fun with them. Otherwise, they would come and cause trouble every day, causing Leisure Cloud pub to be unable to do business. If they didn't have money to eat, they would definitely beg them to play with them. Listening to these filthy words, she couldn't bear it anymore and directly broke their legs. Thinking about it in hindsight, he was still too soft-hearted. He should have just crippled those scoundrels so that they could no longer do evil. Chu Li said, "Leave it to me." "Senior brother, is everything going smoothly?" Zhao Ying said, "You shouldn't have left the residence." She knew that the Tempest Temple and the Run Public House wanted to kill him. Chu Li smiled and agreed. He waved at Chen Ying, who was cutting the flowers. Chen Ying was dressed in a bluish-white gown. Her slender almond-shaped eyes were bright and alluring. She pointed at herself and Chu Li nodded. Chen Ying put down the scissors and looked at him curiously. Chu Li said, "Junior sister, follow me with Chen Ying." He brought the two women into the quiet room. This quiet room was for him to practice martial arts. The layout was extremely simple. There was only a bed and a table. On the wall hung the word "quiet." There was nothing else. Zhao Ying asked, "Senior brother, what's the matter?" Chu Li muttered, "I've obtained a set of acupuncture techniques that can help me build my foundation, but it's risky." "How long will it take to build the foundation?" "One night should be enough." "Really? What kind of acupuncture technique is that?" 9 Transformation Meridian Reforming Technique. Chu Li smiled. "You probably haven't heard of it. I got it from Senior Guomulin. High Official Guo." Zhao Ying suddenly understood. Guomulin's position in the public house was extraordinary. His medical skills were outstanding, and he was in charge of the second lady's health care. Chu Li looked at Chen Ying, who had been quiet all this while. "Chen Ying, the 9 Transformation Meridian Reforming Technique can help you build your foundation overnight, but it's very risky. You might even lose your life. You have to think about it carefully." Chen Ying said without hesitation, "Master, I want to try." Chu Li sighed and nodded. He understood the thoughts of the girls very well. They hated being weak the most. As long as there was a chance to become stronger, they would not let it go, even if it meant risking their lives. "Sit on the bed," Chu Li said. "I'll teach you something first." Remember, don't tell anyone else. Yes. Chen Ying took off her boots and sat cross-legged on the couch with her back straight. Chu Li turned to look at Zhao Ying. Zhao Ying quickly said, I know, I will keep quiet. Chu Li nodded in satisfaction. He took out a box from his pocket. There were 3 layers in total. There were wooden needles, silver needles, and gold needles. Zhao Ying's eyes widened in curiosity. She did not even blink. Chu Li raised his right palm and placed it on Chen Ying's vitals. He did not move. Chen Ying slowly closed her eyes as if she was going to sleep. Zhao Ying looked at Chu Li in confusion. She did not understand what he was doing. She noticed that Chen Ying's eyelids were trembling rapidly. This made her even more curious. Chu Li quickly let go of his hand and said in a deep voice, Keep visualizing, don't get distracted. He picked up the wooden needles with both hands and quickly inserted them into Chen Ying's body. Then, he inserted 2 more needles. In one go, he inserted 109 needles. Chen Ying became like a hedgehog. Zhao Ying's eyes widened. She looked at Chen Ying calmly as if she did not feel anything. Zhao Ying, on the other hand, felt numb all over. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew in the room. The gentle breeze kept blowing on her cheeks. Zhao Ying looked around. The window was not open. How could there be wind? The cool breeze blew past her. Chen Ying's clothes were fixed by the needles. It could not flutter. Only her beautiful black hair fluttered. Zhao Ying looked at Chu Li. Chu Li smiled and gestured for her not to speak. As time passed, the wind gradually increased. The gentle breeze became stronger. Zhao Ying's clothes fluttered as if a strong gust of wind was blowing. It was like this from noon until evening. The wind gradually weakened. The setting sun shone through the window and dyed the room red. Chu Li suddenly retrieved all the needles. Chen Ying slowly opened her eyes. Zhao Ying noticed that her eyes were clear and full of energy. Although she could not tell that she was practicing martial arts, she felt that she was not as weak as before. Master! Chen Ying clenched her jade-like hands. She felt the surging power in her body. She looked at Chu Li in surprise. Chu Li said, From now on, you can practice martial arts. But don't practice the heart technique. Only practice the white tiger illustration that I passed to you. Yes. Chen Ying agreed without hesitation. She asked, Master, why don't you practice the heart technique? Chu Li said, The white tiger illustration that I passed to you is very mysterious. You can practice it at any time. Other heart techniques may not be as useful as it. Yes. Chen Ying did not ask any more questions. She also knew that she started late. It was already late for her to practice martial arts. Chu Li must have thought of this situation before he passed the white tiger illustration to her. She hesitated for a moment. Master, do you want to give everyone acupuncture? Whoever wants to practice martial arts, I will give them acupuncture. Everyone wants to practice martial art. One by one, take your time. Thank you, Master. Chen Ying said, Let's have dinner here tonight. All right. Chu Li nodded. Let Chen Shui come over. You guys go ahead. Yes. Chen Ying agreed and went out. Chen Shui quickly came in. Chu Li first imbued her with the sun-cultivating white tiger illustration, and then he gave her acupuncture. It was completed in the middle of the night. All the women returned to the public house. It became more lively. Chu Li did not return to the public house. He stayed and rested. The next morning, he taught the women the sun-cultivating white tiger illustration and performed the 9 transformation meridian reforming technique. He prepared 10 sets of needles. With his strong spirit, he gave 10 people acupuncture at once. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. All the women had successfully built their foundation and began to cultivate the sun-cultivating white tiger illustration. Chu Li had not thought of what martial arts to teach them that would allow them to unleash the power of the sun-cultivating white tiger illustration. Palm techniques were not enough. He planned to teach them claw techniques or fist technique. He even prepared to let them practice flying knives. He pushed open the door and entered the courtyard. A rich and pure spiritual energy entered his body. Chu sighed comfortably. Shui was cultivating. When she saw him, she looked at him. Master, what happened? Chu waved his hand and sat back in the pagoda. Shui served him tea. She looked at his face. Why do you look so haggard? Chu had been using the 9 transformation meridian reforming technique and the 9 transformation meridian reforming technique for the past 3 days. Even with his strong spirit, he could not take it. He looked as if he had not slept for 2 days. Chu said, "It's nothing." Master, did you go to the new moon brothel? Shui scoffed. Chu glared at her. Shui pouted and changed the topic. Master, I heard something happened in the public house. Chu raised his eyebrows. Shui knew that he was urging her to tell him quickly. She whispered, "It seems like someone robbed our things." Who would be so bold? Chu frowned. The Ren public house? It must be something extraordinary, right? Chapter 123. Chu frowned. Ferric Demon Ridge, yes, it's said to be a small mountain on Jinghai Road. It's not very famous. Are they crazy? How dare they cut off the public house's path? He doesn't seem to know that it belongs to our mansion. Chu seemed to be deep in thought. It seems like it's really something important. Ferric Demon Ridge must be unlucky to transport it in secret without revealing his identity. It must be something extraordinary to be able to make Master Xiao Taiying so angry. As the eldest son of the House of High Dukes, he had lived a luxurious life since he was young. He would not care about ordinary things. Anything that could make him angry must be rare and valuable. The Ferric Demon Ridge was going to be in big trouble. Shui said, Master Xiao Taiying has already sent someone to investigate. The Ferric Demon Ridge will face another calamity this time. Chu smiled. What exactly is it? It's just the Ferric Demon Ridge. It's not even worth mentioning. We'll catch up to them soon. Shui scoffed. These people deserve to die. Chu said, they're bound to run into ghosts at night. They've definitely done this kind of thing before. If we can get rid of them, we'll get rid of them. We'll get rid of a scourge for the martial arts world. Shui agreed with him. She hated these robbers to the core. She did not know how many innocent people would be harmed by them. Master, this matter has nothing to do with us, Shui said. Let's think about how to build the Glories Will courtyard. How many people are you planning to choose? I haven't decided yet, Chu replied. If there were too many people, it would be troublesome. If there were too few people, it would be inconvenient. He couldn't make a decision in a short time and needed to think about it carefully. If he chose people hastily, it would be more troublesome to replace them in the future. Fortunately, Miss didn't rush him and gave him enough time. The place of business is in our courtyard? What do you think? Let's choose another place, Shui said hurriedly. She now regarded this small courtyard as her own home and did not want anyone to disturb her. Chu asked, Where should I choose? Master, if we choose the Jade Guardian Island, then the scribe can only be female, Shui said. Lady Xiao doesn't like stinky men around her. She thinks they're irritating. Chu could not help but laugh. Shuiling's eyes widened and she said seriously, It's true. Chu laughed. Aren't the protectors of the Jade Guardian Island all stinky men? Although the protectors of the Jade Guardian Island consisted of both women and men, he knew that Xiao Qi was indeed a neat freak and did not like men getting close to her. Shui said, The male protectors are all on the outer perimeter. Look at the inner perimeter of the Jade Guardian Island. Where are the men? Chu nodded lightly. What Shui said was true. Shui said, In my opinion, it's better to build it outside the island. Chu frowned and shook his head. Shui was shocked. Are you really going to build it here? I can't leave the Jade Guardian Island, Chu said. Shui looked at him in confusion. Chu said, Our courtyard is used to plant spirit herbs, and they're all rare spirit herbs. We shouldn't let outsiders find them. The name of Glory's Will courtyard is to hide it. If we were to really build a courtyard outside the island, it would go against the original intention. Oh, so the Glory's Will courtyard is just a cover. We don't have to worry too much about it, right? Chu smiled. If I can't think of spirit herbs when I mention the Glory's Will courtyard, that would be the best. The Skysoul Institute's function was to investigate traitors, similar to a special agency. Only by striking fear in others could it be considered a success. Without such deterrence, it would only prove one's incompetence. Xueling smiled. Then where should we build it? It can't be Lady Zhao's stargazing tower, right? Chu said. The courtyard next to it is empty, right? Yes, Xueling nodded. Then let's build it next to it, Chu said. It's more convenient this way. We can only find female scribes and protectors. Xueling stared at him without blinking. Chu smiled. We'll see. Xueling pouted her red lips. Chu said, We won't recruit anyone for now. Let's wait and see. The Glory's Will courtyard was to investigate traitors, so he did not have to do it himself. Women were more meticulous and patient. They could endure those tedious tasks. However, it was a little troublesome to manage these women. He did not want to be in charge of ordinary women all day long. He would lose his authority and become a laughingstock. Useless. Useless. Xiao Taiying threw the teacup on the floor. The porcelain pieces flew everywhere. He panted heavily and paced back and forth. His handsome face was pale. There were two people standing in the hall, Lin Quan and a middle-aged man. They did not look good either. Xiao Taiying paced back and forth a dozen times. He suppressed his anger and said in a deep voice, Brother Taiying, tell me. A small ferric demon ridge could snatch the longevity grass. Do you believe it? You'll laugh your head off if this gets out. The middle-aged man said helplessly, Master, the people from the ferric demon ridge are really powerful. We miscalculated. What's worse is that there was a master of light body technique among them. He snatched the longevity grass and ran away. We couldn't catch up with him no matter how hard we tried. Who was it? Xiao Taiying asked coldly. The middle-aged man shook his head. He covered his face. I can't recognize him. You don't know how to investigate, Xiao Taiying said impatiently. You don't need me to teach you this, do you? Master, we interrogated the people from the ferric demon ridge. They don't know either. The middle-aged man said helplessly. They are also very angry. They feel that they have been robbed and that they are working for someone else. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Xiao Taiying sneered. What a good plan. The middle-aged man said, This person is short and skinny. His light body technique is top-notch and he is an innate master. A grandmaster can't stop an innate master. Xiao Taiying curled his lips. It seems that this guy's light body technique is top-notch. This shouldn't be difficult to investigate, right? An innate master in front of a grandmaster was like a child in front of an adult. This was a deep-rooted belief in everyone. If Chu did not kill a grandmaster last time, Xiao Taiying would not believe this at all. An innate master could escape from a grandmaster's palm. He needed to have an extremely strong light body technique. There were only a few in the martial arts world who could do that. Coupled with the body, it was not that difficult to investigate. The middle-aged man said, Initial speculation is that it might be the celestial monkey. Celestial monkey Jiang Kuai? Xiao Taiying frowned. Did the news leak? Impossible. The middle-aged man shook his head. We used the most trustworthy ones. It's impossible for the news to be leaked. Then how did Jiang Kuai know? It's probably a coincidence. What a coincidence, Xiao Taiying said coldly. It's a coincidence. The longevity grass is gone. Jiang Kuai might have eaten it. Master, most people don't recognize the longevity grass, the middle-aged man said. Xiao Taiying scoffed. Who is Jiang Kuai? How could he not recognize the longevity grass? Lin Quan, who had white hair and a youthful face, did not speak. At this time, he interrupted. Master, if it's Jiang Kuai, then don't blame Elder Huang. Xiao Taiying nodded with a gloomy face. Jiang Kuai's light body technique was top-notch. It was rare. Even a grandmaster could not compare to him. If it's Jiang Kuai, master, I'm afraid the longevity grass. Lin Quan said helplessly. Let's make other plans. Even if Jiang Kuai did not eat it, it was impossible to chase it back. Jiang Kuai's light body technique was top-notch. Even if they sent a few grandmasters, they might not be able to catch up. Master, should we release the news? The middle-aged man gritted his teeth and scoffed. We can't get it, but we can't let Jiang Kuai take advantage of us. Once they know it's the longevity grass, they'll fight for it. It's useless. Xiao Taiying's handsome face became gloomier. Jiang Kuai's light body technique was top-notch. His behavior was also strange. There was no way to catch his shadow. Damn it! Xiao Taiying slammed his palm on the sandalwood coffee table. He gritted his teeth. Jiang Kuai. He had gone through a lot of hardships to get this longevity grass. As long as she consumed the longevity grass, his second sister's body would get better. She would no longer be sick and weak. She would no longer suffer. However, at the last moment, all his efforts were in vain. He could not wait to tear Jiang Kuai apart. Chapter 124. Shao Qi stepped into the hall lightly, and the hall seemed to brighten up a little. Her cold eyes glanced at the broken pieces of the teacup and the palm print on the sandalwood tea table. She looked at Xiao Taiying, who had a gloomy face, and said, Big brother, what happened? Xiao Taiying gritted his teeth and scoffed. The longevity grass was stolen. Shao Qi frowned and glanced at the middle-aged man. Uncle Song, what happened? The middle-aged man said awkwardly, Third lady, we were ambushed by the ferric demon Ridge. It might be the celestial monkey who took advantage of the situation and stole the longevity grass. It might be the celestial monkey? Shao Qi's face darkened. To be able to steal something under Elder Huang's nose, his body movement technique is extremely fast, and with his thin body, even if he covered his face, it's most likely the celestial monkey. Shao Qi said coldly, How dare Jiang Kuai? She turned to Xiao Taiying, her bright eyes flashed, but she did not say much. The feeling of falling short at the last step must be torturing Big Brother to the point of madness. It was useless to blame him for not being thorough. The most important thing now was to get back the longevity grass. This was the only chance for second eldest sister to recover. Xiao Taiying took a deep breath and suppressed his depression. He said in a low voice, Third younger sister, what's the matter? I want Chuli to take charge of a courtyard, Shao Qi said. I built a new Gloriesville courtyard and let him be the chief. Nonsense. Xiao Taiying said impatiently, How old is he? How long has he been in the public house? Do you think he can be a chief just like that? Shao Qi said lightly. He is now rank 5 and risked his life to save second eldest sister. His loyalty is unquestionable and he is extremely capable. I plan to let him share some of my responsibilities and be responsible for eliminating the traitors in the public house. Xiao Taiying frowned. Can he bear it? No one can match your ability. He knew that third younger sister's unique ability was to see through people's hearts, so she could easily find traitors. Others did not have this ability and could not do what she did. Shao Qi said, He has been cultivating Buddhism since he was young. His cultivation level is very high and he can see through people's hearts. Even if he can't do what I can, he is qualified to find traitors. Xiao Taiying frowned in silence. He still felt that Chuli was too young and had only been in the public house for a short period of time. His feelings for the public house were not as deep as the people who had lived in the public house since he was young. Thus, he did not feel at ease using him. Saving second younger sister was most likely a man's momentary impulse in the face of a beautiful woman. It could not be simply attributed to loyalty. Shao Qi glanced at him faintly. Big brother, are you still worried about me using people? That's true. Xiao Taiying suddenly realized that his third sister could read people's minds. Chu Li's loyalty was not something to worry about. Shao Qi said, I'm prepared to give the Gloriesville courtyard 10,000 taels of silver every month. 10,000 taels is not a lot. Xiao Taiying nodded and sighed. Can he really do it? The longevity grass has been taken by the celestial monkey. I'm afraid we won't be able to get it back. Xiao Qi frowned. The news must have been leaked. Impossible. Xiao Taiying shook his head. They are the most trustworthy people. How can there be such a coincidence? Shao Qi muttered. How about this, let Chu Li investigate it. Xiao Taiying shook his head. His rank is not high enough. The people who delivered the longevity grass this time were all his confidants. They were loyal and reliable. If Shao Qi investigated it, they could still suppress it. If it was Chu Li, they would definitely be dissatisfied and he would be the one who would have a headache. Shao Qi said, Then let Chu Li rise a rank. Rise another rank? Xiao Taiying could not help but laugh. He's rising fast enough. With his contribution of saving second eldest sister, why can't he rise a rank? Shao Qi said faintly. If it wasn't for Elder Guo's pill, he would definitely be dead this time. It's so disappointing that he can't rise a rank for such a life-risking act. As soon as Xiao Shi was mentioned, Xiao Taiying immediately softened and remained silent. Big brother, do you have a prejudice against Chu Li? Shao Qi said bluntly. Xiao Taiying said, I just think that he's too young and not stable enough. Chu Li is experienced and steady. He's very stable. Shao Qi scoffed. Just because he's young, you're suppressing his contribution and not letting him rise a rank? All right. Xiao Taiying said helplessly. Anyway, I can't win against you in an argument. If you're so insistent, then let him rise a rank. Shao Qi glared at him. Xiao Taiying said, Of course, he can save second eldest sister. He should indeed rise a rank. Only then did Shao Qi withdrew her gaze in satisfaction. She said faintly, As for the longevity grass, it's good that second eldest sister doesn't know about it. Otherwise, I'm afraid she'll be seriously ill. I think there must be a problem. This time it's the longevity grass. What about the next time? Don't tell me the longevity grass is gone just like that? The longevity grass was extremely rare. Even with the power of the High Duke's public house, they spent a few years looking for it. They finally found one, but it was snatched away. Not to mention the annoyance, it was a huge blow to second eldest sister. She could have recovered, but she lost the chance. Xiao Taiying gritted his teeth and said coldly, You must kill Jiang Lushi. Shao Qi said, His light body technique is rare in this world. Who can kill him? Xiao Taiying was silent. His face was getting uglier. Shao Qi's words hit his sore spot. Even if the High Duke's public house was powerful, there was nothing they could do. As long as the celestial monkey went to the other 10 roads or even left the great Ji dynasty, he would be free and unfettered. Shao Qi said, If he can't kill him and instead provoke his killing intent, what if he attacks second eldest sister when she leaves the public house? Xiao Taiying's face was getting uglier. Shao Qi said, Chu Li can rise a rank. It's enough to investigate the protectors this time. Third younger sister, do you really think there's something wrong with them? Big brother, do you really believe that this is a coincidence? Maybe it's really a coincidence, Xiao Taiying said hesitantly. Shao Qi said, I don't believe in coincidences. Even if it's a coincidence, there's nothing wrong with an investigation. Let's leave this to Chu Li. You're helping him establish his authority. Xiao Taiying said impatiently. You've really painstakingly trained him. Alright, I agree, but I have a condition. Say it. You investigate too. Xiao Taiying said. Don't let him know. The final result depends on whether it's the same as yours. You can't tell him in advance. Shao Qi nodded lightly. Yes, no problem. She was very confident in Chu Li. If there was a problem, he would definitely be able to find out. Her eyes flashed and revealed a trace of a smile. What if he finds out? Xiao Taiying said. If he can really find out, he can do whatever he wants in the future. Let him clean up the spies in the public house. But third younger sister has already combed through it once. There shouldn't be any problem. Shao Qi gently shook her head. People's hearts are fickle. They might be loyal at one moment, but they might not be loyal the next. That's why the glories will courtyard is needed. That's true. Xiao Taiying sighed. He lowered his head and frowned. It was difficult for him to feel depressed. Shao Qi said, Big brother, it's useless to think about it now. Just pretend that we never found the longevity grass. Damn Jiang Kuai. Xiao Taiying gritted his teeth. We might not be able to find the longevity grass, but it's not impossible to kill Jiang Kuai, Shao Qi said. Xiao Taiying's spirit was lifted. He looked up and said, Who can kill him? Chu Li, Shao Qi said. He? Xiao Taiying shook his head and laughed. Third younger sister, you think too highly of this Chu Li. Even a grandmaster can't do anything to him. Can Chu Li do it? Shao Qi said. Big brother, do you think I'll lie to you? Xiao Taiying was stunned and frowned. Can he really kill Jiang Kuai? After this, let him try, Shao Qi said. Don't kill Jiang Kuai first. Xiao Taiying quickly waved his hand and said, I'm not willing to let Jiang Kuai live for another day. Moreover, what if the longevity grass is still in Jiang Kuai's hands? Shao Qi pondered. Chapter 125. Shao Qi was a little touched. For the sake of second eldest sister, Big Brother could put aside his own feelings and swallow his anger. Once Chu Li caught up with Jiang Kuai, if he could not show his sincerity and only relied on force, it would only force Jiang Kuai into a life-and-death struggle. Jiang Kuai would never hand over the longevity grass. Only by giving him a chance could he possibly get the longevity grass back. This chance was very slim, but he had to fight for it even if there was only a slim chance. It was with this mentality that he found the longevity grass. Second sister, since Chu Li could get Jiang Kuai's heart, why didn't you say so earlier? Xiao Taiying grumbled. Shao Qi shook her head. Chu Li's light body technique is great, but he's not a deity. He might not be able to do it. As long as there's a sliver of hope, I have to fight for it. Xiao Taiying said, Alright, send him off right now. He'll be promoted to rank 4. If he can really find the longevity grass, he'll be promoted again. Shao Qi said, We need the public house's cooperation. We need to find out where Jiang Kuai is first. We're already looking for him. Xiao Taiying said, We'll have news soon. I'll go look for Chu Li, Shao Qi said. In her heart, she did not have much hope of recovering the longevity grass. Jiang Kuai was a sky burglar. He was very knowledgeable. How could he not recognize the longevity grass? Even if he did not value it at first, after knowing the identity of the House of High Dukes, he could guess that it was a valuable item. He would be able to find it out after a careful investigation. If it could increase one's lifespan by 60 years, Jiang Kuai would probably swallow it straight into his stomach. Xiao Taiying stared at her in dissatisfaction. Hurry up and go look for it. There's no hurry, Xiao Qi said. Xiao Taiying said snappily. It's possible that Jiang Kuai would have eaten the longevity grass in the time it took to finish these few sentences. Alright, I'll go right away. Xiao Qi shook her head. He was currently in a half-crazy state, so it was not appropriate for her to reason with him. Chu Li was taking care of the spirit herbs in the courtyard. He had already harvested a batch of them and was now planting new seeds. The power of the Glory's Will tree had been demonstrated for the first time. The harvesting time was reduced by 2/3 compared to the normal harvest time. A spirit herb that was a year old only needed 4 months. Xue Ling was practicing the dark Yin palm at the side. Not only was the dark Yin palm's palm energy strange, but the palm technique was also strange. She needed to understand it well. Practice makes perfect. Knock, knock. Someone knocked on the door of the courtyard. Chu Li used the omniscient mirror to take a look and realized that it was Shao Qi. He waved his hand and gestured for Xue Ling to open the door himself. He dusted off the spirit soil on his palms and opened the door to the courtyard. He gave a fist salute and greeted, "My lady." Shao Qi was dressed in a snow-white gown, looking otherworldly. Suru, on the other hand, was dressed in a light green gown, looking elegant and pleasant. "Let's talk inside." Shao Qi stepped into the courtyard. She looked at the Glory's Will tree and the spirit herbs around it and nodded in satisfaction. The growth rate of the spirit herbs was extremely fast. Although it was only a small piece of spirit soil, it was comparable to a spirit herb garden. Furthermore, the value of this small courtyard was immeasurable as it was able to grow all the spiritual herbs in the living herb garden. Xue quickly came over to greet him. The 4 of them entered the gazebo. The green bamboo rustled and swayed. It was quiet and pleasant. Xue served the tea and left quietly. Shao Qi put down the white jade teacup and looked at Chu Li coldly. "Chu Li, you're now rank 4. Chu Li was stunned for a moment before he smiled and said, "Thank you, lady." Going from rank 5 to rank 4 was a huge chasm. He thought that it would take a few years to accumulate merit. Rank 4 was not something that could be achieved with time. It was all about merit. Shao Qi said, "This is what you deserve. There's one more thing." "Glory's Will courtyard?" Chu Li smiled. "Master Shao Taiying doesn't agree?" "Big brother has agreed," Shao Qi said lightly, "but something happened in the public house." Chu Li looked at her. Shao Qi said, "They found a longevity grass, but it was snatched by the celestial monkey halfway." "Longevity grass?" Chu Li was stunned and said in surprise, "The legendary longevity grass." "Yes. There's really longevity grass in this world." Chu Li sighed. "I didn't expect it. It's said that it can increase one's lifespan by 60 years. It's really a good thing. How did it get snatched?" To be able to find the longevity grass, it could be seen that the public house was powerful. It should not have been snatched. No matter how important it was, it must have been escorted by a grandmaster. "It should be foolproof," Shao Qi said lightly. "You know the celestial monkey, right?" Chu Li pondered for a moment and nodded. He found the information about the celestial monkey in his mind. An innate master with peerless light body technique. Even if he faced a grandmaster, he could escape unscathed. Chu Li believed that this was not a false rumor. His light body technique was superb. He could definitely escape unscathed even if he faced a grandmaster. The celestial monkey took the opportunity when the Ferric Demon Ridge ambushed the public house's protectors and snatched the longevity grass. Shao Qi said lightly, "Now that he's missing, it's possible that he has recognized the longevity grass." Chu Li sighed. "Maybe he has eaten it. If he ate it, then kill him. If he didn't, then take it back. If he hands over the longevity grass, we can let bygones be bygones." Shao Qi said, "You can do this." Chu Li was stunned and pointed at himself in surprise. Shao Qi said, "Your light body technique is the best. There's a glimmer of hope to catch up with him. If you can get the longevity grass back, you can advance another rank." Chu Li smiled bitterly. "My lady, I'm not that capable." Su Ru rolled her eyes at him and scoffed. "Chu Li, how will you know if you don't try?" Chu Li sighed. "I guess the public house's protectors have already tried? Big Brother sent 2 batches of people, but there's still no news. It's probably hopeless." Shao Qi shook her head. "If it's so easy to catch the celestial monkey, he would have died countless times. We still have to rely on you. Chuli picked up the white jade teacup and took a sip. He sighed. Finding the celestial monkey is harder than finding a needle in the sea. The celestial monkey was the world's famous celestial bandit. He had offended countless people, but he was still free and unfettered. No one could do anything to him. This meant that no one knew where he was hiding, and he was proficient in concealment technique. The world was so big. It was completely wishful thinking to find his hiding place. After snatching the longevity grass, it was obvious that Jiang Kuai must be hiding and would be hiding for a while. Under such circumstances, to find him, unless a miracle happened. Chuli had the life and death scripture and the omniscient mirror, but he was not a deity. He could not be omnipotent. The public house will send people to help you, Shaoqi said. Chuli sighed. My lady, you know, it's useless. The celestial monkey had not only offended their family, he had offended all 12 public houses, especially the Run public house, who hated him the most and wanted to get rid of him as soon as possible. The Run public house was powerful, but they could not find him, let alone the public house. Shaoqi said lightly, So you don't want to go? Chuli looked at her cold and expressionless face. He sighed again. Since my lady has ordered, of course I will obey. That's good. Shaoqi's expression softened. Suru said, then? Leading the tailoring sword to control the Mo Sang? Burning the carbonyl? Changing the xiu? Sacrificing himself? Cui Tang Si Wu. Shaoqi asked, Is there anything else you need? Who is the longevity grass for? Chuli asked. Shaoqi was stunned. She did not expect him to ask this at this time. It's for second eldest sister. Chuli nodded thoughtfully. It seemed that Master Xiao Taiying really valued relationship. The temptation of 60 years of lifespan was too big. He could actually resist it and wanted to give the longevity grass to Xiaoshi. It was worth his effort. Suru said, Do you want me to help you? Chuli shook his head. The fewer the people, the better. It's not easy to catch up to the celestial monkey. Where do we start? Shaoqi asked. Chuli pondered for a moment and looked up. Have the protectors returned? You suspect that there's a spy? Shaoqi immediately understood what he meant. Chapter 126. Spies. Shaoqi furrowed her brows. They are all trusted subordinates who have been tested. Otherwise, Big Brother would not have sent them. My lady, you should know that people are fickle. Chuli shrugged. Shaoqi sighed. I really hope that your speculation is wrong. Let's give it a try then. Chuli smiled. They're back, right? He came back yesterday. Young master, shouldn't you reward me? Let's go join in the fun. All right. Shaoqi nodded slowly and sighed. If you don't have any clues, you won't be able to find Jiang Kuai? Chuli smiled bitterly and said, My lady, that will be troublesome. We have to investigate bit by bit. It all depends on second lady's luck. Shaoqi sighed softly. Second eldest sister is really unfortunate. It's not impossible. Lady, don't be discouraged. Chuli comforted her. He also felt that the second Mrs. Fate was not good. She was born in a rich and powerful family with unparalleled beauty. It could be said that she was the most beautiful woman in the world. However, she didn't have a good body and couldn't enjoy the benefits of wealth. It was more painful than reincarnating into an ordinary family. It was not easy for him to find the longevity grass, and there was hope for him to recover. However, an accident happened halfway and it was snatched away. No matter how he looked at it, it was bad luck. However, he knew that the longevity grass alone could not cure second Mississippi. If she was really congenitally deficient, she could recover immediately after taking the longevity grass. Unfortunately, she was hit by the vitality sealing finger. No matter how magical the longevity grass was, without unlocking the vitality sealing finger, her body was still weak. However, regardless of whether it was useful to the second miss or not, The longevity grass was a legendary spiritual herb that could increase one's lifespan by 60 years. Its value was immeasurable. Since it was snatched away, of course, it had to be taken back. Even if the second miss couldn't heal her body because of the vitality sealing finger, the medicinal effect was still there. As long as the vitality sealing finger was undone, she could still increase her lifespan by 60 years. Shao-Chi said, "Get ready. I'll bring you along tonight. I've combed through the residence once, and it's inevitable that no one will slip through the net. If you have time in the future, you can comb through the residence again." "Yes," Chuli replied. Shao-Chi got up and left with Suru following closely behind her. Bam! Xiao Taiying smashed the teacup on the floor, shattering it into pieces. With an ashen face, he said coldly, "You're all trash. Trash." The middle-aged man lowered his head and did not speak. His face was flushed. Lin Quan, who was standing in the corner, also kept his mouth shut. Eldest young master was an impulsive person, and it was not appropriate for him to speak when he was in a rage. He would not listen to anything. After walking back and forth for more than 10 times, Xiao Taiying sat down on the armchair. He panted heavily and scoffed. 2 grandmasters and 20 innate masters couldn't even surround one Jiang Kuai. If he were to come and assassinate us, are we supposed to just watch and do nothing? The middle-aged man whispered, "Young master, this guy's lightness skill is too good, but his martial arts are not that strong. He won't be able to assassinate young master." "Shut up," Xiao Taiying said coldly. "If you can't assassinate me, what about my sister?" The middle-aged man immediately shut his mouth. The second lady did not know any martial arts and had a weak and sickly body. Once Jiang Kuai got close to her, she would definitely die. "I'm not asking you to catch him or kill him. I just want you to follow him. What about you?" Xiao Taiying said in a low voice. "There are so many of us, but we can't even follow him. What should we do now? Where can I find him?" The middle-aged man sighed. It was really troublesome now. Jiang Kuai was as cunning as a fox. It would be difficult to find him again. They had to find a place to hide for a year and a half. They would be exhausted from running for their lives. They would not be able to live a good life. He said dejectedly, "Young master, we were greedy. You've ruined everything." Xiao Taiying said coldly, "This time, there's no hope for my sister anymore. What did I say? As long as we follow him, I'll send people to deal with him. What about them? What have you done?" His eyes were cold and his chest was burning with anger. He wished he could give him a slap and beat these incompetent and spoilt them half to death in one breath. His remaining rationality held him back. He was extremely disappointed and snorted coldly, "Don't think that I don't know what you're thinking." They were afraid that others would really catch Jiang Kuai, which would make them look incompetent. So they wanted to be the first to catch Jiang Kuai and take back the longevity grass to atone for their mistake. In the end, they failed. The middle-aged man lowered his head and did not say a word. "Forget it. It's useless to say more." Xiao Taiying waved his hand and took a deep breath to suppress his anger. He snorted, "Come here tonight. I'll treat everyone to a drink. No matter what, everyone has worked hard." "Young master." The middle-aged man looked up and said shamefully, "We really don't have the face to drink. Young? Chui? Baiku? Jiebai? Kol Meng Chao Chuan? Let's laugh." "Yes." The middle-aged man nodded helplessly. "Get lost." Xiao Taiying waved his hand. The middle-aged man was relieved. He quickly closed fist saluted, turned around and left in a hurry. Xiao Taiying stared coldly at his back and did not say a word. The white-haired Lin Quan said in a low voice, "Young master, they lost their minds and did such a stupid thing. I can't believe that even 2 grandmasters can't defeat Jiang Kuai." If Jiang Kuai was so easy to kill, he would have been killed by the Ren public house. Xiao Taiying sneered. They sent 4 grandmasters but they couldn't do anything to him. They want to succeed with just 2 people. How stupid! Young master, there's no need to be angry with these people. You'll hurt your health. The elder shook his head and said, Now it's up to the third lady. Initially, they followed him and knew his whereabouts. Chu Li still had a glimmer of hope. Now that he's missing, where will he find him? Xiao Taiying scoffed, looking for a needle in a haystack, it's futile. Chu Li is a very powerful young man. He might be able to make the impossible possible. The elder smiled and said, If a normal person suffered such a serious injury, even if they don't die, they'll be crippled. How long has it been for him to recover? Fortunately, I didn't tell third younger sister that I've been sending people to follow Jiang Kuai. Xiao Taiying shook his head and said, Or else, I don't know how she would mock and ridicule us. He originally wanted to surprise third younger sister and gain her admiration. Third younger sister was too arrogant. She did not admire him as her big brother, which made him feel very unfulfilled. Lin Quan smiled and said, Now that the third lady dared to agree, she must have some confidence. It's up to Chu Li now. I hope he succeeds. If he really manages to get the longevity grass back, I'll reward him handsomely. Xiao Taiying said. Lin Quan smiled and nodded. If he really manages to find it, then he'll really be a genius. Chu Li sat quietly at a table. Xue followed behind him to refill his wine at any time. There were a total of 7 tables in the hall. 1 table was for Xiao Taiying and Xiao Qi. The other table was for Chu Li and 3 grandmasters. The remaining 5 tables were for 20 innate masters. Chu Li's existence was very eye-catching. They did not understand. Since Chu Li was young and not a grandmaster, what qualifications did he have to sit at the same table with 3 grandmasters? However, there must be a reason for Master Xiao Taiying's arrangement. They did not dare to ask further as they were criminals. Xiao Taiying quickly introduced everyone. There's a new Glories Will courtyard in the public house. Chu Li is the chief of the Glories Will courtyard. He's responsible for eliminating traitors in the public house. He's a rank 4 scribe. Everyone's face turned solemn. A rank 4 scribe was indeed qualified to sit in that position. Moreover, he was responsible for eliminating traitors. That was a high position and power. Chu Li gave a fist salute to everyone. Then, he picked up his wine glass and finished it in 1 gulp. He sat down without saying a word. Xue stepped forward and filled the empty glass with a pot. Everyone bowed and finished it. From the beginning to the end, Chu Li's face was sullen. He did not say a word. Everyone had heard of Chu Li's name. He was famous, and they did not dare to be careless. When the banquet ended and only Chu Li, Xiao Qi and Xiao Taiying were left, Chu Li spoke. Master Xiao Taiying, Lady Xiao, there's indeed a spy. Chu Li's expression was solemn. Who? Xiao Taiying hurriedly asked. Chu Li looked at Xiao Qi and sighed. Senior Huang. Huang Qi? Xiao Taiying asked loudly. Chapter 127. Chu Li nodded slowly. He knew that Xiao Qi could not tell. When one reached the Grandmaster's boundary, there was a faint trace of spiritual power that would interfere with outsiders peeping into one's heart. Xiao Qi's cultivation level was still weak. If she reached the Grandmaster's boundary, she could see through the heart of a Grandmaster. Now that she was in the innate mastery's boundary, she could not see through it. It can't be. Xiao Taiying frowned. Xiao Qi was also hesitant. She did not feel anything strange. It was difficult to peep into the heart of a Grandmaster, but she knew that Chu Li would not speak without thinking. He was a Grandmaster, the pillar of the public house. If there was no problem, he would be wrongly accused and Chu Li's future in the public house would be over. There were only a few Grandmasters in the world. They were the top existence. The public house did not dare to investigate Grandmasters. Once they offended them, they would leave immediately. The public house's restriction on them was very weak. Chu Li said, Jiang Kuai was not recruited by him, but the people from the Ferric Demon Ridge were done by him. Why? Xiao Taiying was puzzled. The Ferric Demon Ridge is not a threat at all. Chu Li shook his head and sighed. He wanted to swallow this longevity grass. What? Xiao Taiying snorted. Chu Li looked at Xiao Taiying. Master Xiao, Huang Qi knew that it was the longevity grass that was being escorted, right? He should not know, Xiao Taiying shook his head. I did not tell anyone. Chu Li said, he knew. Xiao Taiying's face turned pale and said coldly, he must have secretly opened the box. Lawless. The Protector's rule was not to open the escorted item. It was usually sealed. Once it was opened, it could be seen. Breaking the rule would be punished. However, Huang Qi opened the box. Obviously, he did not take the owner of the public house seriously. He knew that he could not do anything to him. 60 years of life. Chu Li shook his head and sighed. For these old people, the temptation is too great. It's understandable. Xiao Taiying believed him this time. Huang Qi was a grandmaster. He was already more than 150 years old. The older he was, the more he cherished his life. How could he not be tempted when he saw the longevity grass? Moreover, he was able to use the Ferric Demon Ridge to swallow the longevity grass flawlessly. Even if someone suspected him, they would not dare to say anything because he was a grandmaster. Even if he lost the longevity grass and Huang Qi was at fault, there was no major loss. He could just say that he did not know how precious the item he was escorting was, and that it was just a small mistake. Such a price in exchange for 60 years of lifespan, if it were him, he would also do it. Shao Qi frowned. Jiang Kuai stole the longevity grass, and he was surprised too? It should be. Chu Li smiled. This is just my speculation. Whether it's true or not, I'll need you to verify it yourself, Master. I will look for him and ask him in detail. Xiao Taiying said slowly. Shao Qi said, Big brother, I'll watch from the side too. Xiao Taiying nodded his head. Even if she had not mentioned it, he would have invited her to be by his side. He wanted to borrow her ability to see through people's minds. He felt that the reason why she could not see through it earlier was because she did not suspect Huang Qi. If she had the intention, she would have seen through it. Chu Li closed fist saluted. Master Xiao, Lady Xiao, I'll take my leave first. Since there is no news here, I'll go to the scene of the incident to take a look. Sigh. Xiao Taiying shook his head and sighed. He told them what happened earlier. Shao Qi frowned slightly and looked at him with dissatisfaction. Xiao Taiying smiled bitterly. Third younger sister, I didn't expect this group of people to be so reckless. Chu Li said, This is not reckless. Master Xiao should understand if you think about it. Xiao Taiying was stunned. He immediately thought of Huang Qi and his face darkened. He scoffed. No wonder, it's because of his greed. I'll talk to Huang Qi tonight. Chu Li picked up the teacup and took a sip. He slowly put it down. If it's true, how will Master Xiao deal with him? Xiao Taiying frowned and thought for a while. He scoffed. Cripple his martial arts. After all, he also has meritorious deeds. We can't punish him too harshly. Yes, cripple his martial arts and let him live in the public house, Shao Qi said. Chu Li nodded thoughtfully. Shao Qi said, Chu Li, what do you think? Chu Li smiled. Grandmasters have a high status. It'll be troublesome to deal with them. That's true. Xiao Taiying sighed. He now had some understanding of Chu Li. He was indeed a smart guy and his words were pleasing to the ear. He was not like those arrogant people. He was worth training. No wonder third younger sister spent so much effort to train him. A bright moon hung in the sky. The moonlight was like water. Chu Li and Xue Ling returned to the courtyard. As soon as they entered, Xue Ling asked, Master, when are we leaving? Chu Li paced in the courtyard with his hands behind his back. Xue Ling followed closely. Is it okay to delay this much? There's no rush. Chu Li answered absent-mindedly. The celestial monkey was difficult to deal with. It was not easy to find him. Even if he chased him to the scene of the incident and found his traces, he would not be able to find him. His light body technique was superb, and he would not leave behind too many traces. The only good news was that the incident happened on the Thunder State Road. This road was under the influence of the public house. On the Thunder State Road, the public house's influence was everywhere. The celestial monkey should not be able to hide his track. As long as he could find him, things would be much easier. At this time, he realized that martial arts and power had their own advantages. No matter how strong one's martial arts was, power was still stronger. However, sometimes martial arts was more important. Master! Xueling stopped and stomped her feet. Chu Li turned to look at her. Xueling scoffed. I'm talking. All right. Chu Li waved his hand. This matter still needs to wait for news. Xueling said, What about the Gloriesville courtyard? When are we going to find the traitor? She felt that the Gloriesville courtyard was very prestigious. Offending people. Chu Li sighed. This is not a good job. In the future, when they hear the name Gloriesville courtyard, they will feel uncomfortable. Just like the embroidered uniform guards of the East Depot and West Depot in that era, it was not a good reputation. The Gloriesville courtyard would probably end up like this in the future. That was why he was not very active and decided to rule by doing nothing. It's good that they feel uncomfortable, Xueling said. Chu Li looked at her. Look further. If you offend too many people, it will be difficult for you in the future. It's good that Lady Xiao supports us, Xueling said. Who cares about them? You. Chu Li shook his head and laughed. Xueling pouted her red lips. Anyway, I don't think we need to care so much. Everyone hates the traitor. If we find out who the traitor is, everyone will be happy. Let's talk about it later. Chu Li nodded. It was not that easy to find a traitor. Just like the incident with Huang Qi, the impact was huge and the consequences were serious. The Gloriesville courtyard had a heavy responsibility. If something happened to the traitor in the future, the Gloriesville courtyard would be the first to be blamed. Xueling saw that he was absent-minded and did not want to talk to her. She pouted helplessly. I'm going to make some tea. Chu Li sat back in the pagoda and drank his tea. He was still thinking about how to find Jiang Kuai and what breakthrough he could make. Time passed unknowingly and the night gradually darkened. The courtyard door was suddenly pushed open. Su Ru came in wearing a light green gown. Chu Li stood up. Su Ru floated into the pagoda with a light fragrance. Sit down and talk. There's a result. Chu Li saw her serious face and asked directly, How was it? Su Ru took the teacup from Xueling. You're right. Chu Li sighed. Su Ru said, We had a fight and it was a mess. Finally, we subdued him and crippled his martial arts. There was no joy on Chu Li's face. Every grandmaster was important to the House of High Dukes. Crippling one of them was tantamount to weakening their strength. It was not a good thing. Chapter 128. I hope that Master Xiao Taiying will accept this, Chu Li said. It was inevitable to be sad and disappointed. After all, they were grandmasters with high status. They had never suspected them, but they did not expect something to go wrong. More importantly, without a grandmaster, the High Duke's public house's strength was immediately weakened. Suru's face darkened and she did not say a word. Chu Li looked at her and frowned. Chief, did something happen? No. Suru shook her head and did not look at him. Chu Li thought quickly. He was not in a hurry to activate the omniscient mirror. He frowned and said, Huang Qi made a move. I think Lady Xiao Taiying and Master Xiao Taiying are involved. Is Lady Xiao Taiying injured? Suru looked down and drank her tea. She did not say a word. Chu Li raised his eyebrows. Is she really injured? Is it serious? Grandmasters are not innate masters. I'll go take a look. What's the use? Suru waved her hand and said in a low voice, Lady Xiao Taiying is healing herself. Not seriously injured? Humph, she almost died. Chu was confused. Lady Xiao Taiying is close to the Grandmaster's boundary. She can't be so seriously injured, right? The martial arts that Xiao Qi cultivated were extremely mysterious. Now, she already had a hint of a Grandmaster's shadow. If she were to encounter a Grandmaster, she would still be able to fight back. Huang Qi's cultivation level was not considered profound, so it was reasonable to say that his injuries would not be too serious. Suru scoffed. Lady Xiao Taiying did it to save Master Xiao Taiying. Huang Qi dared to attack Master Xiao Taiying. He's crazy. He knew that he would not have a good ending if he was exposed. He wanted to kill Master Xiao Taiying. Suru said coldly. These grandmasters had a high status in the public house. They were treated well, but they were greedy. They wanted to steal things from the public house. Once they were exposed, they wanted to kill. They were really ungrateful people. Chu said, Lady Xiao Taiying took a blow for Master Xiao Taiying? Yes, Huang Qi was talking nicely when he suddenly attacked. Suru shook her head. Lady Xiao Taiying was not prepared. She used her body technique to block Master Xiao Taiying and took Huang Qi's punch. Where is the injury? Chu asked. Lady Xiao took a punch from him. Suru sighed and said, she didn't have time to circulate her power and her left arm broke. She shook her head and her face darkened. Chu stood up and walked outside. Bring me there. What are you going to do there? Lady Xiao is meditating to heal herself. She won't see anyone. Suru waved her hand and scoffed. Chu did not stop walking. I have some experience in healing. I can help Lady Xiao. What do you have in mind? Suru got up and followed behind him. Chu smiled and said, I was heavily injured last time, but didn't I recover very quickly? Is there a way? Suru looked at him doubtfully. She had heard about Chu-Li's previous attempt to save the second lady. He had almost lost his life, but he had indeed recovered very quickly. The two of them had already walked out of the courtyard and into the forest. Chu-Li said, I've cultivated a heart technique that specializes in healing injuries, and it's quite effective. Lady Xiao also has a special healing heart technique, Suru said. Chu-Li replied snappily, Chief, would I harm the lady? That's true. Suru pursed her lips and smiled. She nodded. All right, you are loyal. I don't know if Miss will see you. She said not to be disturbed. Chu-Li said, Let's go. The night was dark, but the entire Jade Guardian Island was brightly lit as if it was daytime. Under the light, the pavilions were richly ornamented. It was like a heavenly palace. The two of them stopped at the second floor of the stargazing tower. Suru signaled for him to stop and wait for her to go up first. She then quietly went up to the third floor. Chu-Li had already activated the omniscient mirror. On a couch on the third floor, Xiao Qi was sitting cross-legged with her face as pale as a sheet. She was quietly channeling her inner energy. Her left arm was clamped with a board and wrapped with a white cloth. Chu-Li took a closer look. Her left arm was broken into pieces, and her meridians were destroyed. The other meridians were also dispirited and lifeless. Huang Qi's inner energy was extremely vicious. When Suru walked up, he followed her up to the third floor and waved his hand at her. Suru widened her eyes and stared at him. Chu-Li sat behind Xiao Qi and placed both of his palms on her soft back. The scripture of life and death gathered the spiritual energy of the plants and slowly infused it into her body, nourishing her meridians. Suru was indignant, but she could only watch and did not dare to disturb him. After about the time it took to drink a cup of tea, Xiao Qi slowly opened her eyes. Chu-Li did not let go of his palms. He was still nourishing her body with spiritual energy. Lady Xiao, come to my side. Xiao Qi's face was a little rosier. She felt that the inner energy from Chu-Li's palms was pure and full of vitality. The recovery of her meridians was far better than her own heart healing technique. Her injuries had stopped worsening. Xiao Qi's voice was slightly hoarse. Go to your side? Beside the Glory's Will Tree, it can help to heal. Chu Li said. Okay. Xiao Qi said. Chu Li withdrew his palms and Xiao Qi slowly got off the couch. Su Ru rolled her eyes at Chu Li and quickly asked, Lady Xiao, are your injuries better? Yes, it's okay. Xiao Qi said. Chu Li shook his head. Xiao Qi looked at Chu Li. Let's go. The three of them went downstairs and directly went to Chu Li's courtyard. As soon as they stepped into the courtyard, Xiao Qi felt a refreshing breeze blowing on her face. Her whole body relaxed a little. Before this, when she was not injured, she did not have such sensitive senses. Now that she was ill, her senses were even more acute. Chu Li said, Xueling, take out 2 cattail hassocks. Yes. Xueling responded and went into the living room to take out 2 cattail hassocks. She followed the direction of Chu Li's finger and placed them next to the Glory's Will Tree. Xiao Qi sat on one of the hassocks and Chu Li sat behind her. Su Ru and Xueling stood at the side and watched quietly. Chu Li closed his eyes and transferred the spiritual energy of the Glory's Will Tree into Xiao Qi's body. At the same time, he circulated the minute pulse cleansing technique in her body. Xiao Qi let it be. She did not help or stop him. She just watched the inner energy flow and unknowingly fell into a state of oblivion. When she suddenly woke up, she realized that the sky was already bright. The sun in the middle of the sky warmed her body, and the original cold disappeared. Spiritual energy continuously flowed into her back. She silently observed for a moment. Her meridians were full and strong. Most of her injuries were healed. Her left arm was still faintly aching. After all, the broken bones would not heal so quickly. It would take some time to recuperate. However, her meridians were unobstructed. If her meridians recovered, her bones would recover quickly too. Chu Li slowly withdrew his palms. Su Ru and Xueling, who were sitting at the side, got busy. Xueling brought the porridge over while Su Ru poured out a pill from the porcelain bottle and passed it to Chu Li. Both of them had not eaten for the whole night and the whole morning. They must be hungry. Moreover, Chu Li had been cultivating for a long time. He must be exhausted. Su Ru gave Chu Li a energy enhancement pill to replenish his energy and also to calm his mind. Xiao Qi stood up and looked down at Chu Li. Chu Li had already taken the energy enhancement pill. He closed his eyes and adjusted his breath. Su Ru quickly asked, Lady Xiao, how is it? Xiao Qi nodded. More than half recovered. Let's go. Don't disturb Chu Li. Let him come at night. Yes, Su Ru quickly said. Xueling said, Lady Xiao, have a bowl of porridge. We need to make it when we get back. All right. Xiao Qi came to the pagoda. Xueling put down the 2 bowls of porridge and looked at Chu Li worriedly. Xiao Qi said, Don't worry. He's just tired. He'll be fine after a day of rest. Xueling nodded lightly. Xiao Qi drank the porridge and looked at Chu Li. Chapter 129. As long as he was given enough opportunities, the chances of him stepping into the Grandmaster's boundary were very high. Unfortunately, there were too few opportunities. If he was in a top-notch martial arts sect, he might have already stepped into the Grandmaster's boundary. Speaking of which, the High Duke's public house owed him. She shook her head and sighed. She didn't eat quickly. She ate the porridge in small mouthfuls as she pondered. When he finished the bowl of porridge and put it down, Chu Li stood up and walked over. Master. Xueling looked at him carefully. It's fine. Chu Li waved his hand and sat opposite Xiao Qi. My lady, is Huang Qi's cultivation level that high? He knows that he's in a hopeless situation. He's like a cornered beast. Xiao Qi's expression was calm as she shook her head gently. I've underestimated his courage. Now that she thought about it, she was too careless. She should not have allowed the grandmasters to hide outside the house. She thought that Huang Qi would not dare to attack them and would at most escape. She did not expect him to have the intention to kill them. Chu Li asked, "You still kept him alive?" "No matter what, he has made a great contribution," Shao Qi said plainly. "Killing him would be too disappointing." "Young master, are you all right?" "Big brother is not injured." "Lady, you need to recuperate. You can't fight." Chu Li frowned. "I'll perform the 9 transformation meridian reforming technique." Xiao Qi furrowed her brows as she looked at him. Chu Li shook his head and said, "Huang Qi's inner energy is insidious and poisonous. It's best not to leave behind any future problems that could affect his advancement to the Grandmaster's boundary in the future." "I think it's almost done," Shao Qi said. She felt that her meridians were almost healed. Chu Li said, "Huang Qi's inner energy can hurt people invisibly. Now that he seems to have recovered, there are still hidden dangers." Shao Qi could only vaguely feel the condition of her meridians. She was only relying on her intuition, but Chu Li could see it clearly. There were still traces in the fine areas. If this continued, her meridians would be damaged. After a few repetitions, it would become a chronic disease that was not easy to cure. Chu Li, the 9 transformation meridian reforming technique is very dangerous. Suru stood behind Shao Qi and said impatiently, "If there's an accident," Chu Li smiled. "I've already performed the 9 transformation meridian reforming technique 50 times. There's still no danger." Suru was stunned for a moment, then came to a realization. "You gave it to Chen Ying and the others?" "Yes, they all want to practice martial arts, but they haven't reached the foundation building stage yet. He's already so old, and he's building his foundation now." Suru paused at this point. Chu Li was an example. He built his foundation very late, but he was well prepared and managed to enter the innate mastery's boundary before others. Chu Li said, "They've cultivated the sun cultivating white tiger portrait. I'm not sure if they'll be successful." 9 transformation meridian reforming technique. Shao Qi pondered and slowly nodded. "All right. I'll use it when you come back." "Let's do it today." Chu Li shook his head. "Your injury can't be delayed." Shao Qi frowned. Jiang Kuai's side was the most important. If they were a little late, they might swallow the longevity grass. If they were a little early, they might have a chance to snatch it back. This was related to second sister's life. Chu Li replied, "I'll be done soon." He was not in a hurry. If there was no news from the manor, it would be impossible for him to find a needle in a haystack. "Can your spirit handle it?" "No problem." "All right." Shao Qi said, "Let's fight for time. We need to hurry up with Jiang Kuai's side. Suru, go to Big Brother's side and urge him." "Yes, lady." Suru agreed and turned to leave. She was in a hurry to come back and watch Chu Li use the 9 transformation meridian reforming technique in case of any accident. The 9 transformation meridian reforming technique was very dangerous. Chu Li reached out and said, "Let's go to the study." Shao Qi got up and the 3 of them went to Chu Li's study. Xue Ling had already brought 3 boxes of needles. She opened them and placed them beside Chu Li's hand. Shao Qi sat on the armchair. "Do I need to take off my clothes?" "Just take off your outer clothes." Chu Li picked up the wooden needles. Shao Qi gracefully took off her snow-white gown. She was only wearing a snow-white undergarment. Suddenly, she looked less cold and more lively. Chu Li looked at the indescribably beautiful Shao Qi and sighed. She still did not see herself as a man. Chu Li said, "Relax, don't circulate your energy." Shao Qi closed her bright eyes. Chu Li inserted the needles very quickly. He inserted 109 needles in one breath. He was very familiar with it. Shao Qi had just taken a few breaths when she felt the pores on her body suddenly open up. An invisible force rushed in. It was as if she was in a lake. This invisible force drilled into her pores like the lake water and rushed into her meridians, strengthening her meridians. When Su Ru floated back and quietly approached Shao Qi, she saw that there were needles all over Shao Qi's body. 109 needles were like the waves of wheat being blown by the wind. They moved up and down in an orderly manner. Chu Li said, "Xueling, bring a bowl of porridge over. I'm hungry." Xueling quickly agreed and slowly walked out of the study. Su Ru stared at Shao Qi. "Chu Li, will there be any accidents?" "Don't worry," Chu Li said. Su Ru rolled her eyes at him. "How dare you?" This kind of secret skill was dangerous. Lady Xiao was a precious person. How could she take such a risk? If it was not Lady Xiao's decision, she would never agree to it. Xueling brought 3 bowls of white rice porridge. It was fragrant. Chu Li drank 1 bowl in a few mouthfuls and finished 3 bowls in one go. He nodded in satisfaction. Xueling took the bowls and carried them out. Only the 3 of them were left in the study. Chu Li said, "What did Master Xiao Taiying say?" "No news yet." Su Ru sighed. Chu Li frowned. "Looks like we can't count on him. Do you have a way to find him?" Su Ru looked at Chu Li. This matter was too difficult. Even Lady Xiao could not do anything about it. The public house was powerful, but they could not do anything to a small celestial monkey. No one would believe it. This was the power of martial arts. Many times it could surpass power. Chu Li said, "I can only try." He could not think of any good ideas now. The only thing he could rely on was the omniscient mirror. If it did not work, he would offer a reward. With a reward, there would be a brave man. He would be able to find some clues. As long as there was a clue, Jiang Kuai would not be able to escape from his palm. Time passed quietly. When it was evening, Chu Li suddenly pulled out the needles. Shao Qi slowly opened her eyes. Her eyes were bright and full of energy as if she was not injured. Chu Li smiled. "Congratulations, Lady Xiao." Shao Qi nodded. "This time, it's all thanks to you." Not only did her meridian injuries heal, but her cultivation level had also improved. Her accumulation was getting deeper. It would be easier for her to break through to the Grandmaster's boundary. It was really a blessing in disguise. Chu Li smiled. "Lady Xiao, you have to be careful of the injury on your left arm. I have the bone healing cream. It will be fine after some rest," Shao Qi said. As the two were talking, there was a sudden knock on the door. Chu Li's expression changed slightly. He activated the omniscient mirror and saw a young scribe standing outside. This was his residence. It was extremely hidden. Usually, there were only 2 guests, Shao Qi and Su Ru. No outsiders had ever come here. "I'll go take a look," Su Ru said hurriedly. Shao Qi frowned. "Go quickly. The Glories Will courtyard had the Glories Will tree. Once the Glories Will tree was exposed, it would be really troublesome." Su Ru walked out lightly and quickly turned back. "Lady Xiao, there's news about the celestial monkey." Chu Li's spirit was lifted. Su Ru did not keep him guessing. "I saw him in Minzhou next to Thunderzhou." "Minzhou?" Chu Li pondered and shook his head. "Chu Li, follow me," Shao Qi said. The 3 of them quickly left the courtyard and went straight to the 3rd floor of the stargazing tower. Su Ru took out a map and Chu Li saw the location of Minzhou. Shao Qi said, "It's more than 1,000 miles away. You have to hurry and leave today. Su Ru, give Chu Li 2 bottles of energy enhancement pills." "Yes." Su Ru agreed and took 2 bottles of pills from the cabinet for Chu Li. "Use your light body technique to go there directly," Shao Qi said. Chapter 130. He was lucky to be able to find Jiang Kuai's trail. He could not let go of this clue. He wished he could grow a pair of wings and fly there. 1,000 miles was not far in his eyes. "Don't you need to go back and prepare?" Su Ru said. "Bring some clothes." Chu Li shook his head. "I can't care about this. This is a rare opportunity. I'll leave immediately. I think I can get there in one night." "All right." Xiao Qi gently nodded. Be careful of Jiang Kuai. Not only is his light body technique excellent, but his martial arts is also very powerful. I heard that he has a profound fist technique. Don't think that only his light body technique is good and neglect his fist technique. Chu Li smiled. Of course. Goodbye. Xiao Qi gently waved her hand. Go. Chu Li, wait for a moment. I'll get something for you. Suru quickly said and quickly left. She returned with a bag and handed it to Chu Li. There's some food inside. You've been traveling for the whole night. You need to eat something to fill your stomach. Chu Li smiled and took it, then disappeared in a flash. He performed imminent skyline to his heart's content. The spiritual force around him was like a raging wave. After it entered his body, it directly turned into inner energy, supporting the continuous performance of imminent skyline. At dawn, he arrived at Min State. Following the unique sign of the public house, he found a house. It was a wealthy family with a tall gate and a courtyard. The house had 4 levels and a back garden. It was magnificent. He directly went into the front house and appeared in front of the woodshed. This woodshed had the unique sign of the public house. He knocked on the door and a thunderous voice came from inside. Who is it? Chu Li said. Chu Li. The woodshed was opened. Inside was a burly man like an iron tower. He was more than 30 years old. His face was dark, his eyes were bright, and he was full of energy. He seemed to know martial arts but had not reached the innate mastery's boundary. Chu Li handed over a white jade waist tag. The public house's rank 4 scribe, Chu Li. The rank 4 scribe's waist tag was made of white jade. It was warm and translucent. It was the best jade to show the public house's wealth. This piece of jade could easily be sold for 10,000 taels of silver. Please come in. The strong man looked at the jade tag carefully and passed his ebony waist tag to Chu Li. Mo Ta, you can just call me Elder Mo. Chu Li glanced at the ebony waist tag and stepped into the woodshed. Before he sat down, he said directly, Brother Mo, let's skip the pleasantries. This is an emergency. Where is Jiang Kuai? Can't find it. Mo Ta rubbed his head and smiled awkwardly. Chu Li raised his eyebrows. Mo Ta sighed. I haven't seen Jiang Kuai with my own eyes. One of my informants saw Jiang Kuai in the restaurant, but he immediately lost track of him. Chu Li frowned and pondered. Mo Ta said, Maybe Jiang Kuai is no longer in Min State. This guy is very vigilant. Once he finds out that someone is following him, he will immediately escape and disappear. Chu Li nodded. That was indeed Jiang Kuai's style of doing things. Once something went wrong, he would run. Of the 36 stratagems, fleeing was the best strategy. I've also asked around. No one has seen Jiang Kuai again, so I suspect that he has already left. Chu Li sighed. What a troublesome fellow! He's so slippery. I've sent out all the informants in the city, but no one has seen him. He must have left. Mo Ta said apologetically, This is all my fault. I should have made it clear. If you see him, pretend you don't know and don't follow him. Even if I don't follow him, he won't stay for long. Chu Li waved his hand. He won't stay in one place for too long. Mo Ta nodded hurriedly. I'm really sorry for troubling you to make this trip. Chu Li said, It's not that there's nothing to gain, but I have to trouble Brother Mo with one more thing. Please say it, Mo Ta said hurriedly. He was a little guilty. He did not do it properly. He was afraid that the public house would blame him for not doing a good job. He hesitated for a moment and the people from the public house arrived. Chu Li said, Can you hang a piece of white cloth at the highest point of the city and write that Jiang Kuai is a son of AB*TCH? Ah? Mo Ta's eyes widened. Chu Li smiled. Since he won't show his face, I'll scold him and see if he's really in the city. This. Mo Ta smiled bitterly. Doing this, not being open and above board? Chu Li smiled. He stole our things. It's not a big deal to scold him a little, right? It's not a big deal to scold him a little in private, of course. Emota smiled bitterly. But isn't it a little too much to hang it at such a high place? To force him out, Chuli spread his hands and said, I can only use this method. But his light body technique is superb. Even if he really shows up, there's nothing we can do, right? Emota said. Chuli said, as long as he shows up, leave the rest to me. It seems that Brother Chu's light body technique is brilliant enough. Emota smiled. It was no wonder. Since the public house sent him here, he must be someone with outstanding light body technique. Otherwise, he would not have come. Moreover, he arrived here so quickly. His light body technique was indeed impressive. I'll leave it to you, Brother Emo. Chuli waved his hand. Jiang Kuai's light body technique is superb. He's very arrogant. Even if he knows it's a trap, he'll still show up. Emota scoffed. Unscrupulous. He'll definitely tear this piece of white cloth. Chuli smiled. Jiang Kuai did not have any great evil. He just liked to rob things, claiming to rob from the rich to help the poor. His behavior had offended many people, but he could still live freely. First, his light body technique was superb. Second, he was careful and might not be fooled. But this time, he went too far. The longevity grass was a life-saving item. He snatched it, which was equivalent to ending the life of the lady. It was tantamount to murder. Brother Chu, rest here for a while. I'll send someone to do it right away. Emota said. Chuli nodded slightly and closed fist saluted. Thank you. Emota waved his hand. This is my duty. You're welcome. He was a swift and decisive person. He closed fist saluted, turned around and went out, closing the wooden door. Chuli sat on the bed and adjusted his breathing. Performing imminent skyline for a night, his inner energy was endless. It was a huge burden on his body. Fortunately, the sentient menace had reached the 4th level, so he could withstand it. At noon, Emota returned and brought some food and wine for Chuli. The two drank and ate while chatting. Emota said what he did. He bribed the biggest restaurant in the city and replaced the signboard with a white cloth that scolded Jiang Kuai. It fluttered in the wind, and the whole Min State town could see it. Emota laughed. As long as Jiang Kuai was still there, unless he was willing to be a coward, he would not make a move. With the peerless light body technique and his arrogance, could Jiang Kuai endure this? If he really could endure this, then I, Emota, am willing to be at a disadvantage and accept it wholeheartedly. Chuli listened to Emota's laughter and shook his head. Brother Chu, let's guard the restaurant tonight and see if he shows up. No need, I'll do it. You alone? Emota frowned. More people means more power. Chuli shook his head. It's useless even if there are more people. All right. Emota saw that Chuli was full of confidence. He wanted to watch a good show and see what kind of amazing light body technique this rank 4 scribe sent by the public house had. He envied Chuli from the bottom of his heart. There was also a hint of jealousy. He had good martial arts, but he could only stay in a remote place like Min State. Compared to Chuli, the difference was like heaven and earth. He wanted to see what Chuli was capable of. If he messed things up, the public house would know that it was not because he was incompetent, but because Jiang Kuai was too powerful. Chapter 131. After eating and drinking, Chuli looked at the sky outside and got up to leave. Emota offered to help, but Chuli declined politely. The sun was setting and the twilight was hazy. The sunset dyed the sky red, and the entire Min State city was also dyed a rose color. Heaven and earth were magnificent. Chuli quietly left the mansion, strolled, and felt the atmosphere of Min State city. Unknowingly, he came to the restaurant that Emota mentioned, the Sunrise Restaurant. This was the largest restaurant in Min State city, about 20 meters high. Standing on the roof, one could overlook the entire Min State city. Standing downstairs and looking up, a long white cloth fluttered in the air. On it, the words, Celestial Monkey Jiang Kuai is a son of AB *Tsich, were written in crimson cinnabar. However, under the afterglow of the sunset, it was not so conspicuous. Chu Li smiled, walked into the goddess welcoming restaurant, and sat on a seat on the third floor. It was still early, and there were not many people eating. There were 7 or 8 tables on the third floor, and they were whispering about this matter. Sitting on the third floor, one could see the white cloth through the open window. It was impossible not to see it. Who is so free to do such a wicked thing? Must have nothing better to do. Celestial Monkey, I've heard of his name. It is said that his light body technique is superb. Just from this name, I know his light body technique is good. What does he look like? From this name, he has a protruding mouth and monkey cheeks. Hee, how many people have actually seen Celestial Monkey? This guy is said to be elusive. If he sees this, won't he explode in anger? I don't know which wicked person did this. It's too bad. It must be Celestial Monkey's enemy. If he's capable, then find him for revenge. Why use such a trick? Celestial Monkey's light body technique is good. He wants revenge but can't find him, so he can only resort to this. According to what you said, it's reasonable? Of course he wants revenge. If he can't, then he can vent his anger. Anyway, Celestial Monkey is not a good person. Hee, could it be that Celestial Monkey stole your things? Ha ha. Do you think Celestial Monkey steals everything? What does Old Fong have that is worth Celestial Monkey stealing? Even if you ask him to steal, he won't bother. Nonsense. I haven't been stolen, but a friend of mine was stolen by a Celestial Monkey. The jade goddess of mercy that has been passed down in my family. Then has your friend seen what a Celestial Monkey looks like? No. Then how did he know it was stolen by the Celestial Monkey? Other than his Qinggong, who could steal the jade guanyin hidden in the secret room without a sound. Hee, that might not be the case. In any case, it's pretty close. Chu Li listened to their verbal arguments and shook his head to himself. It seemed that most of the Celestial Monkey's reputation was based on false rumors. Out of the 10 things, he might have only done 1 or 2. The rest were forced upon him by the others. Once the omniscient mirror was activated, everything within a 3-mile radius appeared in his mind. The long white cloth fluttered in the wind. The sunrise tower was already brightly lit. The cinnabar on the white cloth was even more conspicuous under the light than during the day. It could be seen from anywhere in the city. Chu Li took a sip of the wine and slowly chewed on a piece of beef. If the Celestial Monkey really wanted to take action, it would either be when there were many people around or when there was no one around. The best time was when there were a lot of people. He could fish in troubled waters. As time passed, the night grew darker. The sunrise tower became more and more lively. In the brightly lit restaurant, there was a burst of noise and music, and even laughter. Chu Li glanced at the few tables around him, and saw that they had all called for singers. They listened to the music while they ate and drank. It was a very enjoyable experience. Chu Li sat alone by the window and drank by himself. It was a little eye-catching. However, others saw that he was wearing brocade clothes and had a noble and graceful temperament. It was obvious that he was not an ordinary person. No one provoked him. Look, what's written on it? Someone suddenly stopped in front of the sunrise tower and pointed at the white cloth. The people around looked up and just noticed the words on the white cloth. Chu Li shook his head. Most people usually did not look up at the sky, especially the signboard of the sunrise tower. The tall building itself was the signboard. More and more people gathered below. There was a lot of discussion. Chu Li smiled. The crowd gathered too quickly. There was something strange. It seemed that someone was manipulating it. It should be Jiang Kuai's action. People had the habit of joining in on the fun. They gathered in groups of 2s and 3s, pointing and discussing who had done this. It was a disgrace to the cultured. The Sunrise restaurant had actually given up its signboard. The merchants pursued profits to such an extent. It was really despicable. Swoosh! A light whistled. A stream of light shot towards the white cloth in the air. Ah! People screamed and ran in all directions. The 20-meter-long pole, as thick as a baby's arm, was slowly falling down. If it hit someone, it could crush them to death. No one wanted to take it. Fortunately, the pole was long enough. It fell slowly and finally hit the roof of a house next to it. It was held up and the white cloth with the words on it fell to the ground. Chu Li's gaze focused and saw the person who did it. A slender young man flicked a small stone with his finger and broke the arm-thick pole. The power of this flick was really amazing. He sighed. It was obviously a unique martial art. The young man looked valiant. He sneered and glanced at the white cloth. Then, he mixed into the crowd and ran out with the crowd. Chu Li stared at him but did not forget to pay attention to his surroundings. Under the omniscient mirror, every face and the subtle expressions on their faces were presented in his mind. Other than the valiant young man, there was nothing unusual about the others. Chu Li observed the image in the valiant young man's mind. He was suddenly stunned and his expression changed slightly. The people on the third floor swarmed in front of the window and looked down at the chaos below. They were amazed and disgusted. It was strange. How could a good signboard fall down? It was too dangerous. Some people thought that it must be God who could not stand it, so the signboard was scraped off. Some people thought that it was a coincidence. The Sunrise Tower had been around for 50 years. The signboard should be changed. No matter how thick the pole was, it was weathered by wind and rain. It would not be long before it fell today. Chu Li watched the young man's actions in his mind. Suddenly, he disappeared from the table. The valiant young man left the Sunrise Tower with the crowd and mixed into the crowd on the street. Finally, after a few turns, he entered a winding alley. The alley was quiet. The bluestone road shone with a green light under a string of lanterns. Chu Li suddenly appeared 10 meters behind the valiant young man and shouted, "Jiang Kuai!" The valiant young man paused and then continued to walk. Chu Li raised his voice and said, "Jiang Kuai, what did you do with the things from the public house?" The valiant young man's expression changed slightly, but he kept walking forward as if he did not hear him. Soon, he disappeared at the corner of the alley. Chu Li's mouth showed a smile. Who would have thought that the celestial monkey looked so dignified? He did not look like a monkey at all. No one would believe that he was the celestial monkey when he walked on the street. The wonders of the world were often unexpected. He saw the location of the longevity grass in Jiang Kuai's mind. He breathed a sigh of relief and thanked God. Fortunately, the celestial monkey was a smart person. The longevity grass was still there, but he only saw a secret room in his mind. He did not know where the secret room was. He had to ask a few more questions. Chapter 132. Chu Li once again appeared 10 meters behind Jiang Kuai and raised his voice. "Where is the longevity grass hidden?" Jiang Kuai suddenly turned around and stared at him coldly. "Who are you?" Chu Li smiled. "Chu Li from the public house." "I don't," Jiang Kuai said coldly. "Celestial monkey Jiang Kuai." Chu Li smiled and said, "I didn't expect the famous celestial monkey Jiang Kuai to be you." "Me?" Jiang Kuai pointed at himself. "Celestial monkey?" Chu Li nodded. Jiang Kuai laughed out loud. "Ridiculous," Chu Li said. "The longevity grass is a hot potato. I'm sure you don't want to keep it, right? The eldest young master has already said that if you hand over the longevity grass, we can let bygones be bygones. From now on, we won't interfere with each other's business. We can treat it as if nothing happened." "I don't understand what you're saying." Jiang Kuai shook his head. "You've mistaken me for someone else. Goodbye." Chu Li smiled. "Brother Jiang, why are you in such a hurry to leave?" He took out a white jade waist tag and tossed it over. "Look at this, it's my waist tag. Jiang Kuai waved his sleeves and rolled up the white jade waist tag. He took it into his hand and glanced at it. He shook his head. I don't recognize it. Is this the waist tag of the public house? Chu Li grinned and said, Brother Jiang is an expert, so of course you'll recognize it. Why are you still pretending to be ignorant? I didn't expect Brother Jiang to be proficient in the bone shrinking technique. When you're fighting, use the bone shrinking technique first and recover afterward. Others won't be able to recognize you. The bone shrinking technique not only shrank the body, but also the face. It changed the bones in the entire body. More often than not, when a person became fat, others would not be able to recognize them. The changes in their bones were even more difficult to recognize. Moreover, no one would think about it from this perspective. Jiang Kuai's face darkened. He glared at Chu Li and gripped the white jade waist tag tightly, as if he was going to crush it. This was his biggest secret. Other than himself, even his own woman did not know. Who exactly was this surnamed Chu? He actually knew this secret. The High Duke's public house was indeed full of hidden talents. It must have been deduced by someone with great intelligence. Chu Li saw that his eyes were flickering. At times, he was filled with killing intent, and at other times, he was hesitant. He knew that he was in a dilemma. He laughed. Brother Jiang wants to kill me to silence me? He had completely fallen out with the House of High Duke. There's no turning back? The High Duke's public house is nothing. Jiang Kuai scoffed. Chu Li chuckled. To the four major sects, the High Duke's public house was indeed nothing to worry about. However, to the normal sects, the High Duke's public house was a colossus that could not be resisted. For someone like Jiang Kuai who fought alone, the public house would not provoke him if they could. Although Jiang Kuai's light body technique was superb, he was not an otherworldly person. He also had friends and relatives. If he really went against the High Duke's public house, the forces of the High Duke's public house could not kill him, but they could deal with his relatives. Moreover, he had already offended the Ren public house. If he offended another one, he would not be able to live. Chu Li saw through Jiang Kuai. It was a pleasant surprise, but it had a fatal weakness. Previously, Jiang Kuai was extremely daring. He relied on his top-notch light body technique to run amok and offended too many people, especially the Ren public house. He had always been chased by the Ren public house. Jiang Kuai was different now. He had a wife, and he loved her very much. His heart was restrained, and he was worried about his wife's safety. He had been hunted by the Ren public house for 2 years. He had experienced the power of the House of High Dukes. They had eyes and ears everywhere. Even if his light body technique was superb, he still had to hide. He could not get rid of the entanglement of the Ren public house. He was fine with it, but his wife had to follow him in fear, which made him deeply miserable. A hero's spirit was short, and love was the grave of a hero. He, a lone hero, had also become weak. Such a rare opportunity. Of course, Chu Li would not let it go. He attacked wave after wave to destroy his fighting spirit and make him join the High Duke's public house. It was easy to kill him, but it was even harder to make him join the High Duke's public house to strengthen the strength of the High Duke's public house. A master with top-notch light body technique, like Jiang Kuai, was very useful. It was far more important than an ordinary innate master. Sometimes it was even more important than a grandmaster. What are you laughing at? Jiang Kuai said coldly. Chu Li said, the world is big, but there is no place to stay. Relatively speaking, the High Duke's public house is the safest. Brother Jiang Kuai, you can settle your family in the High Duke's public house, and you will have no worries. You're recruiting me? Jiang Kuai laughed. Chu Li nodded. As a rank 4, I have the right to recruit masters into the public house. Become the High Duke's public house's lackey. Jiang Kuai scoffed. Lackey? Chu Li laughed. People who live in this world are all lackeys. The disciples of the famous factions have to listen to the faction, the commoners have to listen to the imperial court, and even the lonely have to serve their own desires. Who can truly be free? What nonsense! Jiang Kuai sneered in disdain. Chu Li said, gains and losses are one. There are gains and losses. It's good to enjoy the shade under a big tree. Since you want to enjoy the shade, how can you not pay? If you enter the High Duke's public house, you will lose your freedom, but you can protect your family. Isn't it worth it to pay? Jiang Kuai sneered without saying a word. Chu Li continued, if you are alone, you can come and go as you please. Indeed, you are free. But you have a family, how can you be free? You have enemies all over the world. Is there no one who can find you and take revenge on your family? Jiang Kuai's face turned pale. This sentence hit the nail on the head. In your situation, the famous factions will not accept you. Chu Li shook his head. It's harder to enter the High Duke's public house than the famous factions. Without the recommendation of rank 4 and above, it's impossible to enter the High Duke's public house. To tell you the truth, I just became the chief of the first courtyard. I need my own confidant. If it's someone else, I'll just kill them directly. Why bother talking? Jiang Kuai squinted at Chu Li and sneered. Kill? What can you do to me? Chu Li shook his head and laughed. You think I can't do anything to you, so I have no choice but to recruit you? As soon as he finished speaking, he disappeared from the spot and appeared behind Jiang Kuai. Jiang Kuai suddenly moved horizontally. It was extremely fast. Chu Li took a step and appeared behind him again. Jiang Kuai moved horizontally again, and Chu Li took another step to catch up. Jiang Kuai's heart skipped a beat. He pushed his speed to the limit and floated up the wall like a wisp of smoke. He flew past each wall and each house. Under the clear moonlight, he was like a shadow that swept past. His figure could not be seen clearly. He ran 100 miles in one breath, out of Min State Town, and came to a forest. He stopped on a pine tree and smiled proudly. He suddenly froze and his shoulder was patted lightly. Chu Li's voice came from behind. Brother Jiang Kuai really has a good light body technique. Jiang Kuai turned around as if he saw a ghost and stared at Chu Li. There was someone in the world who had a better light body technique than him? His light body technique was naturally formed. He ate a strange fruit and his body was as light as a feather. The light body technique that he cultivated was not the best, but his speed was extremely fast. No one could match him. Chu Li's light body technique was faster than his. How was it possible? Let me remind you, if we can find you, the Ren public house can too. You better run away immediately. I'll take the longevity grass back first. Chu Li pointed at the waist tag in his hand. If you think it through, bring this waist tag to the High Duke's public house to find me. If you don't want to come, it's up to you. You can use this waist tag to ask the High Duke's public house for help once. You! Jiang Kuai frowned. Chu Li waved his hand and disappeared in a flash. Jiang Kuai's face was gloomy and he was deep in thought. To take the longevity grass back, did they find the place where he hid it? Or was it a trick? Once he ran back, he would take the opportunity to appear and snatch the longevity grass? He hesitated. In the end, he felt that the place where he hid the longevity grass was extremely secretive. Only he knew about it. No matter how powerful the public house was, they would not be able to find it. They would not fall into his trap. But what if they really found it? Handing it over was completely different from them finding it. Chapter 133. After struggling for a long time, Jiang Kuai finally decided to go and have a look. He glided up the mountain and came to a small valley. Then, he pressed twice on the moss-covered stone wall. Boom! A hole appeared in the stone wall. He leaned in and soon came to a stone room about 20 square meters. He had a total of 12 stone chambers like this, where he kept all the things he had stolen over the years. Some were priceless antiques and some were exquisite and rare tools. He stole some of them because he wanted to exchange them for silver, and some purely because he liked to play with them. With the light body technique that allowed him to dominate the world, he had no scruples in doing things. If he wanted to rob, he would rob, and he only robbed from those rich families. He glanced at the secret room. It did not seem like anyone had touched it. He turned his head abruptly and saw that no one was following him. In the middle of the stone room was a dark purple wooden cabinet. It looked like a medicine cabinet in a medicine shop with many small drawers. He opened the small drawer in the middle and his face suddenly changed. The drawer that contained the longevity grass was empty. He widened his eyes in disbelief and quickly opened the rest of the drawers. The jewelry was all there, but there was no longevity grass in all the drawers. Of course, he would not forget the longevity grass. He remembered clearly that it was in the drawer in the middle. He glanced around and there was no trace of anyone coming. Could it be that the longevity grass had legs and ran away by itself? He felt that it was ridiculous. Suddenly, he found a line of small words at the bottom of the drawer. He quickly focused his energy on his eyes. Take the longevity grass, don't miss Chu. Jiang Kuai's face was pale. He thought that his light body technique was the best in the world. He did not expect that there would be someone stronger than him. Chu Li's light body technique was far better than his. What was even more chilling was that no one else knew about this secret room except him. How did Chu Li know? Could it be that he had always been by his side and he did not notice? Thinking of this, he suddenly shouted, "Chu Li, come out!" His voice rumbled in the stone room. "Sneaky, despicable behavior!" Jiang Kuai shouted. After a long while, there was still no movement. Jiang Kuai judged that Chu Li must have taken the longevity grass and returned to the public house to receive the reward. The longevity grass had a lifespan of 60 years. When he saw the ferric demon Ridge fighting with a group of people, he joined in the fun and snatched the thing back. He immediately regretted it. His hand was too cheap and caused big trouble. The longevity grass of the public house, the second Lady Xiao Shi, the first beauty of the great Ji dynasty. Of course, he knew that Xiao Shi was weak and sickly. He also knew that the moment he saw the longevity grass, he knew that it was for Xiao Shi. If he swallowed the longevity grass, the public house would definitely go crazy, even the entire Ji dynasty would go crazy. No matter how powerful he would not be able to escape, so he resisted the temptation and kept the longevity grass. Humph! Jiang Kuai smashed a jade bowl into pieces. He was extremely unhappy. Whether the longevity grass was returned by one's own hands or if it was snatched away, it was a completely different matter. This was the escape route that he had left for himself, but now it had been intercepted by Chu Li. He was wary of Chu Li. When he recalled Chu Li's last words, his expression changed and he quickly flew out of the secret chamber. The most important thing now was to escape to a faraway place. If the public house could find him, the Ren public house might be able to. The Ren public house was stronger than the public house and was more difficult to deal with. Like a gust of wind, he floated into a small residence in the city and landed in the courtyard. It was already late at night and the house was quiet. He heard the soft breathing sound in the bedroom and let out a sigh of relief. He slowly opened the door and went in. "Husband!" A gentle voice came from the bed. "You Ting, sleep," Jiang Kuai said softly. He took off his outer shirt and went to bed. In the dark, a soft and fragrant body went into his arms. "Husband, why did you come back so late?" "I drank too much." Jiang Kuai patted her shoulder and let out a sigh of relief. "You Ting, let's move tomorrow." Yu Ting responded softly. Jiang Kuai listened to her gentle answer and did not ask why. He felt even more guilty. He knew that Yu Ting liked quiet and peaceful life. She hated the days of wandering, fighting and hiding, but he could not do it. He was ashamed to be a man. Listening to her soft breathing, Jiang Kuai said softly, "Let's find a deep mountain and live in the forest." Yu Ting replied softly, "As long as I'm with husband, it doesn't matter where we go." Sigh. Jiang Kuai felt even more guilty. Yu Ting leaned into his arms and said softly, "Husband, don't worry, I'm fine. Someone came to recruit me today." Jiang Kuai sighed, "They're from the public house. They want me to work for them." Yu Ting was stunned. "Why would the public house recruit you?" "They're interested in my light body technique," Jiang Kuai said. "Once you enter the public house, it'll be like the ocean." "Forget it," Yu Ting said. Jiang Kuai said, "If I work for the public house, you can live in the public house. You don't have to be afraid anymore. You can live a stable life." "Working for the public house is also very dangerous," Yu Ting said. "You can't ignore an order. If you offend someone, you might die at any time." Jiang Kuai shook his head and said, "My light body technique is the best. They won't let me die. I know that husband is used to being free and can't stand being restrained." Yu Ting said softly, "Don't let yourself suffer because of me." The more she said that, the more guilty Jiang Kuai felt. Bang bang. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Jiang Kuai was shocked. He hugged Yu Ting and floated up. "Who is it?" "Brother Jiang Kuai, it's me." Chu Li's voice came from outside. "I just wanted to inform you that your whereabouts have been exposed. The people from the Ren public house are rushing over here. It's best if you leave now." Jiang Kuai let out a sigh of relief and said in a deep voice, "Wait." He directly walked out of the bedroom in his undergarment. He opened the door and saw Chu Li standing quietly at the door. The moonlight shone on his face. Jiang Kuai scoffed, "How did you know?" Chu Li smiled. "The public house's eyes and ears are very sharp. If you don't leave now, you won't be able to." "They can't stop me." Jiang Kuai scoffed. Chu Li shook his head. "I saw them holding a few big net. I guess they want to catch you." Jiang Kuai's expression changed slightly. Chu Li said, "There is no such thing as an invincible person. They found a way to restrain your light body technique." Jiang Kuai scoffed, "What is your intention?" "I'm just helping you to make up your mind." Chu Li smiled and nodded to the beautiful woman who had already put on her clothes and was leisurely approaching. "This must be Madame Jiang, right? You're really beautiful." Su Yuting was beautiful. She was tall, had long legs, a thin waist, and a full chest. She was graceful and graceful. Her appearance did not lose to Chen Ying and the others. Of course, she was still slightly inferior to Shao Qi and Xueling, but she was already a rare beauty. Jiang Kuai frowned and looked at him. Chu Li said, "Let's leave this place first. If you don't believe me, we can watch from afar." "Okay," Jiang Kuai said. He carried Su Yuting and floated up. They landed on the roof of a house not far away. He lay on the red tiles and looked around. Soon, he saw 8 men in black appeared. They were divided into 4 directions and gathered towards the house where he was. There were 2 people in each group. They held a ball of silver fish net in their hands. Under the moonlight, it was obviously a specially made fish net. Chapter 134. Although he was 100 meters away, Jiang Kuai still slowed down his breathing for fear of alerting them. He could not see through these people's cultivation level. Their footsteps were silent. Even if he was lying in the courtyard, he could not hear their footstep. Their movements were leisurely as if they were here to play. They did not show any killing intent. However, Jiang Kuai knew that these people were ruthless. Once they caught him, they would never let him live. After dealing with them for 2 years, the Ren public house's cruel methods were chilling. They silently came to Jiang Kuai's residence. Both of them glided to the top of the wall and lightly punched in the direction of the bedroom. Bang! Bang! 2 muffled sounds. Jiang Kuai saw his bedroom door and window explode. These 2 punches came from thin air. They were all grandmasters. He quickly lowered his body and shook his head at Su Yuding, signaling her not to make a sound and not to look up. Grandmaster's senses were too sharp. They could even feel their gazes on them. The moonlight was hazy and Su Yuding's martial arts was low. She could only see roughly. The Ren public house seemed to be ruthless. This time they sent 2 grandmasters. Previously, they only used 1 grandmaster. Now there were 2. If this continued, they would not be able to catch up. They would probably use 3 or even 4. At the same time as the 2 punches, 4 large silver nets were thrown into the air. They slowly fell down and covered the entire residence. These 4 nets shone coldly under the moonlight. Jiang Kuai felt a chill in his heart. If he was really inside, he would have become a fish in the net. These nets were obviously specially made. It would take a while to cut them. With these 2 grandmasters, his life would be in danger if there was a slight delay. It did not matter to him, but what about Su Yuding? If she fell into their hands, he could not imagine her ending. Thinking of this, he glanced around but did not see Chu Li. This time, if he did not inform them in advance, they would not be able to escape. No one. He escaped. The 4 men in black flew around and saw that there was no one in the residence. Damn it, he escaped again. He ran faster than a rabbit. How did the news leak this time? This guy is very slippery. Maybe he felt something was wrong and left early. Damn it. All our efforts are in vain. Don't worry, he can escape for a while. You won't be able to escape. In my opinion, he can't have gone far. Quickly send people to investigate. We'll find him eventually. Their discussion drifted into Jiang Kuai's ears, but he dared not make a sound. If Su Yuding wasn't there, Chu Li had appeared long ago and laughed out loud. He mocked them for a while before leaving to piss them off. However, Su Yuding was there. If he brought Su Yuding along, it would affect his body movement technique. It would be hard to say if the 2 grandmasters would not catch up to him. Old Meng, Old Qi, Old Zhang, Old Zhao, it's all our fault. One of the black-clothed men lowered his head and apologized. We rushed over as soon as we heard the news, but we were still too late. We let the 4 seniors make a wasted trip. Jiang Kuai was stunned. They actually sent out 4 grandmasters. Haha, it doesn't matter. Just take it as coming out to get some fresh air. An old man waved his hand and laughed. The scenery here is not bad. That's enough, Old Meng. You still have the nerve to say that? The 4 of us set out, yet we can't even deal with a junior. If word of this gets out, we'll die of embarrassment. Old Zhao, young people nowadays are different from the past. You can't underestimate them. Old Qian was defeated by a young man. You're talking about Chu Li from the public house, right? This brat, the public house has suffered many losses in his hands. Lady Xiao has given the order to kill him. We must kill him no matter what. This brat is more difficult to deal with than the celestial monkey. We must kill him quickly. If he really becomes powerful, our public house will not have a good time. I didn't expect the public house to have such a talent. He's just a junior. He can't do anything. Old Zhang, you're wrong. If we really go against him, we really have to be careful. Don't fail miserably. Old Qian is not worse than us, right? What happened in the end? Sigh. I heard that old Shi was injured by him. The 4 of them stood at the side and talked while the other 4 black-clothed men retracted the net that covered the residence. When they were done, the 4 old men also ended their conversation and left slowly. Jiang Kuai let out a long sigh of relief. He suddenly turned his head and saw Chu Li standing not far behind them with his hands behind his back, quietly looking at the direction where the 8 black-clothed men left. Jiang Kuai said, "They're talking about you, Brother Chu, right?" "It's me." Chu Li retracted his gaze and shook his head. "I've become a mortal enemy with the Ren public house." "You've killed a grandmaster before." "I was lucky." No matter how arrogant Jiang Kuai was, he knew that he could never kill a grandmaster, no matter how strong his light body technique was. A sneak attack would not work on a grandmaster. He could rely on his light body technique to escape, but he could not kill them. A grandmaster had a keen sense of danger. Brother Jiang Kuai, what do you think? Chu Li glanced at Su Yuding. I think the scene tonight will happen again. Jiang Kuai's face darkened. Thinking of the scene just now, he felt a chill in his heart. Chu Li said, there are two choices. Either directly join the public house and let your wife live in the public house, or don't join the public house and live in Chongming Town. If the public house has any problems, just ask Brother Jiang Kuai for help. Jiang Kuai frowned and looked at him. Chu Li said, no one dares to mess around in Chongming Town. If anyone from the martial arts world dares to make a move in Chongming Town, the public house will hunt them down. Until now, no one has been able to escape. The Ren public house also does not dare to make a move in Chongming Town. The consequences of breaking the rules are unpredictable. Living in Chongming Town is very safe. If Brother Jiang Kuai really can't stand the restrictions, you can choose the second option. Is there any disadvantage to the second option? Of course. Chu Li smiled. Although Chongming Town is safe, the world is big. There will always be people who are not afraid of death. Every year, there will be people who cause trouble in Chongming Town. In the end, they will be killed by the public house. Living in the public house is considered safe. Once you enter the House of Marquis, the internal struggle in the public house must be very fierce, right? Jiang Kuai frowned. I'm afraid that Su Yuding will be bullied if she stays there. Chu Li laughed and shook his head. It seems that Brother Jiang Kuai does not understand the public house at all. Jiang Kuai looked at him seriously. This was related to his own fate. Chu Li said, our public house is different from the other public houses. We have the weakest internal strife. The eldest master is in charge of the public house. The second lady is weak and sick, so she does not manage the affairs of the public house. The third lady only manages the affairs of the public house. She has no ambition and only focuses on cultivation. The fourth young master focuses on cultivation and does not manage the affairs of the public house. The third lady? Jiang Kuai asked. Chu Li said, the third lady, Shao Qi, is in charge of the punishments in the public house. Moreover, the public house is a huge lake. With Brother Jiang Kuai's cultivation level, you can enter the public house and become a rank 6 protector. You will have your own courtyard and no one will disturb you. You will have more freedom than you think. Is there no place that is not free? If you are a rank 6 protector, you will have 6 missions a year. Other than that, as long as you follow the public house's rules, there are no other restrictions. Chu Li smiled. You can choose the missions. It will not be forced. Then everyone will choose the safe missions. Who will do the dangerous missions? Jiang Kuai was doubtful. Chu Li smiled. The reward for the safe missions is low and the reward for the dangerous missions is high. The difference is 10 times or even 100 times. In the public house, no one will do the safe missions. The more dangerous the missions are, the more people will rush to do them. They are conceited about their martial arts, they like adventure and excitement, they want to stimulate their potential to improve, they like money and pills. Brother Jiang Kuai, you should understand that it is not that no one wants to enter the public house. It is just that the threshold of the public house is higher than that of the famous sections. If it was not for your light body technique, you would not have the chance to enter the public house. Jiang Kuai hesitated. It was actually so wonderful. Chapter 135. What are the benefits of being a protector? Jiang Kuai asked. He felt that most people who practiced martial arts could not stand being restrained. It was too frustrating to listen to others' orders. There must be great benefits for people to do it. Chu Li shook his head and smiled. There are no other benefits. Jiang Kuai was surprised. Chu Li said, There are no other benefits besides stability. It can't be? Jiang Kuai frowned. If there are no benefits, who will be ordered around? Chu Li smiled. Maybe there is a benefit. You can get promoted. Promotion. Jiang Kuai muttered. Chu Li said, just like my glories will courtyard you just joined. Of course, you have to start from the lowest level. If you do well, you can go up. People who practice martial arts are not officials. Jiang Kuai snorted. Chu Li smiled. Just like the glories will courtyard, they have a scribe commander, protector commander, and deputy commander. If you become the commander, you can naturally order others around, but do everything personally or just give an order and someone will naturally do it for you. Which is more comfortable? Jiang Kuai shook his head. Power was a great temptation. How many people could resist it? Chu Li said, all right, brother Jiang Kuai, my lips are dry. Just give me a straightforward answer. Are you going to enter the public house or not? Can I trust you? Jiang Kuai said, don't try to trick me into joining. Chu Li laughed. To be honest, if I wanted to harm you, do I need to talk so much? Why did I need to inform you? I could just watch from the side. Moreover, I treat you with sincerity. If not, I only need to make a move when they succeed. Brother Jiang Kuai, won't you be grateful? Do you still need me to persuade you? Jiang Kuai showed a smile. This made him trust Chu Li even more. If Chu Li was playing a trick and waited until he was in trouble to lend him a helping hand, then out of gratitude, he would not have anything to say and would immediately agree to it. Husband, why don't we enter the public house? Su Yuding said softly. Jiang Kuai looked at her. Su Yuding could see that her husband was moved, but he could not bring himself to say it. She could only say it. Even if he would blame her in the future, she could not care so much. This was a rare opportunity. Yuding, if we really enter, our days might not be as good as now. Jiang Kuai sighed. Su Yuding smiled and said, as long as we are together, anywhere is the same. Chu Li smiled and said, Brother Jiang, the danger in the High Duke's public house is far less than what you are now. Sigh. Jiang Kuai let out a long sigh. Slowly, he said, fine, I'll enter the house of High Dukes. Chu Li clapped and smiled. Congratulations, Brother Jiang. You won't regret it. Jiang Kuai shook his head. Who knows? There are countless people who want to enter the High Duke's public house, but how many of them can actually get in? Chu Li laughed. Brother Jiang, you don't know how lucky you are. Let's set off now and return directly to the mansion. No problem. Jiang Kuai agreed immediately. In the early morning, a thin mist rolled over the surface of the lake like a veil. Chu Li breathed in the fresh and moist air and stepped into the stargazing tower. Su Ru was standing in the main hall. Her apricot yellow gown made her face look like white jade. She smiled like a flower as she looked at him. Have you succeeded? Chu Li smiled. Fortunately, I didn't fail you. All right. Su Ru waved her hand. Hurry up and go see Lady Xiao. She has been waiting for you. The two of them went up to the third floor. Xiao Qi was sitting cross-legged on the bed to meditate. The cast on her left arm had been removed. From the outside, no one could tell that she was injured. She gently closed her eyes. She was solemn and quiet, like the goddess of mercy sitting on a lotus. As soon as Chu Li stepped into the third floor, she opened her eyes. Chu Li took out the jade box and handed it over with both hands. Lady Xiao, the longevity grass. Su Ru took it and brought it to Xiao Qi. Xiao Qi said, open it. Su Ru opened the box. Inside was a green grass. At first glance, it looked similar to ordinary weeds, but it was 4 to 5 times thicker than weed. The exuberant green revealed vitality. At first glance, one could tell that it was not an ordinary thing. Now second eldest sister can be saved. Xiao Qi sighed softly. Chu Li shook his head. It's useless. Xiao Qi glared at him. Chu Li said, with the vitality sealing finger, Even 10 longevity grass can't save second lady. Shut up, Shao Qi said lightly. Big brother doesn't want to hear this. Chu Li sighed and nodded helplessly. His words carried little weight. His medical skills had only been learning from Mulan for a month. No matter what, he could not win people's trust. Lady Xiao, I've recruited Jiang Kuai into the public house, Chu Li said. Shao Qi opened her eyes slightly. Su Ru smiled and said, Really? Someone like Jiang Kuai can be recruited? Chu Li smiled and nodded. He's different now. He has a wife, so he wants to live a stable life. He also offended the Ren public house, and was almost punished by them. Jiang Kuai's light body technique is superb. He's a useful talent. Shao Qi nodded slightly. It's a great achievement that you can recruit him. Chu Li smiled. It's a pity that he can't be used by me. Go and rest. I'll handle the rest, Shao Qi said. Chu Li fist saluted and turned to leave. Shao Qi looked at the longevity grass and felt the vitality. She knew that it was not fake. She closed the box and went to Iron Eagle Island. The public house was particularly lively in the morning. It was livelier than usual. Boats came and went on the lake. She and Su Ru stepped into the backyard of Iron Eagle Island. Xiao Taiying was cultivating in the backyard. His palm energy was spreading and his whole body was purple. There was no one beside him to serve him. Seeing Shao Qi coming, Xiao Taiying was surprised and stopped cultivating. She must have something to do to come at this time. Big brother, the longevity grass is back, Shao Qi said. Xiao Taiying was stunned and overjoyed. You found it? Shao Qi glanced at Su Ru. Su Ru held the jade box with both hands and presented it to Xiao Taiying. Xiao Taiying opened the jade box and suddenly laughed. It really is the longevity grass. He could not help but caress the jade box. A warm and cold feeling came from his palm. It calmed him down a little. He sighed. God never forgets man. Second younger sister can be saved. Shao Qi nodded slightly. Chu Li found it? Yes. Good boy, you're really good, Shao Qi said. But Chu Li insisted that second elder sister was hit by the vitality sealing finger. The longevity grass is useless. Humph. Xiao Taiying snorted. He's really stubborn. Shao Qi shook her head. Forget it. Let's not care about him. Let second elder sister consume it as soon as possible. Yes, yes. Xiao Taiying smiled again. Let second elder sister consume it in the morning. He closed the jade box excitedly and said, This boy is really good. I can't not reward him. It's a little too fast to rise another rank. Third younger sister, what do you think we should reward him? Didn't you want to rise a rank before? Are you going back on your words? Shao Qi frowned. If it's someone else, it's not a big deal to rise a rank. But Chu Li is now rank 4. It's already shocking. It's not good for him to rise again. Xiao Taiying shook his head. I think it's okay. Shao Qi said coldly. All right, since you insist, then let's rise a rank. Xiao Taiying said helplessly. What reward? There's a piece of tiger bone in the public house, Shao Qi said. Give it to him. Spirit tiger bone? Xiao Taiying showed a pained expression. This, big brother really can't bear to give it to him. Let him enjoy it for a while. Shao Qi said. What's the use of the spirit tiger bone? Xiao Taiying was hesitant. He asked doubtfully, Is he going to eat it? This thing can't be used as medicine. Chapter 136. Shao Qi said. He cultivated the art of white tiger portrait and needs to understand the spirit tiger's force. He dares to touch the bone? Xiao Taiying shook his head. Don't mess around. He's a talent, don't ruin it. His art of white tiger portrait is already quite mature. With the tiger bone, he will improve further. If not, I'm afraid he will stop here. What a pity. All right, he can even cultivate the art of white tiger portrait. He's lucky to have both parts. Xiao Taiying sighed. He had cultivated the art of white tiger portrait before, but he could not grasp the basic. Now, it seemed that Chu Li's talent in martial arts was amazing, comparable to third younger sisters. It was a rare talent and worth cultivating. As the eldest son of the House of High Dukes, Xiao Taiying would not be jealous. He admired Chu Li even more. It would be a sin not to make full use of such a talent. If the House of High Dukes wanted to be strong, they had to make good use of these talents. Big brother, Shao Qi said, there's no use for the tiger bone. It can't be used in medicine, and I don't even dare to touch it. Why not give it to him? He can use it? Xiao Taiying said. If he touches it, I'm afraid he'll be finished. He has a deep dermic base and is sensitive to danger. He can avoid danger. Shao Qi said, Big brother, you can't bear to let it go, right? Who said I can't bear to? Xiao Taiying waved his hand and scoffed. All right, give it to him. Shao Qi smiled. Xiao Taiying let out a long sigh and suppressed his heartache. But you must make it clear to him that this is not a joke. Of course. Shao Qi pursed her lips and smiled. Big brother, you really can't bear to let it go, right? Xiao Taiying stared at her. You're making fun of me. How did this tiger bone come about? Who knows? Xiao Taiying shook his head and sighed. I asked my father before and he said he didn't know either. Maybe there's only one spirit tiger bone in the whole world. Shao Qi said. Xiao Taiying laughed. It must have been brought out by an enlightened master from Mountain Shirwan. Maybe there's a few of them. If you bring one more, you'll attract the spirit tiger, Shao Qi said. Even an enlightened master wouldn't dare to do that. What if there are a few enlightened masters? Big brother, don't mention it. That's why tiger bones are hard to come by. Xiao Taiying shook his head and sighed. But Chu Li was able to find the longevity grass and save second sister's life. This is far more important than a piece of tiger bone. Shao Qi nodded. The two of them chatted as they walked out of the back garden and into the main hall. Before Xiao Taiying sat down, he raised his voice and called out, Lin Quan! Lin Quan! Young master! The white-haired old man, Lin Quan, appeared and said with a smile, Young master, what can I do for you? Bring me the tiger bone from the inner warehouse. Xiao Taiying said. Yes, Lin Quan replied. He turned around and left. Xiao Taiying pointed at the armchair and Shao Qi sat down. Shao Qi pondered for a moment and sighed. Big brother, what if Chu Li is right? What? Xiao Taiying was stunned. Then, he thought of it and shook his head with a smile. Vitality sealing finger? Shao Qi slowly said. Chu Li is very confident in his judgment. Xiao Taiying shook his head and said, It seems like you are trusting him more and more. This is not a good thing. No matter what, he is still a subordinate. Don't trust him completely. I understand. Shao Qi nodded. She was very clear about the art of manipulating people. Human nature was evil, they could not be trusted completely. Xiao Taiying said, If it's really vitality sealing finger, then find someone to undo it. It's not a big deal. Shao Qi frowned and pondered. Vitality sealing finger was not that easy to undo. Lin Quan quickly returned to the main hall and presented a small black box with both hands. It was about the same size as a jewelry box, young master. Xiao Taiying took it and passed it to Shao Qi. This is the tiger bone. Remember to tell him clearly not to touch it. Yes, Shao Qi replied, he's not that stupid. I'm just afraid that he's arrogant. If he's not convinced, if he really touches it, he will die no matter how powerful he is. Xiao Taiying scoffed. Shao Qi smiled and said, Big brother, Chu Li recruited Jiang Kuai into the public house. Xiao Taiying was stunned and his face darkened. Shao Qi said, Big brother, how do you want to deal with Jiang Kuai? Xiao Taiying took a few deep breaths. Before today, he even had the intention to skin Jiang Kuai alive. The longevity grass was recovered and his anger was mostly gone. However, when he heard Jiang Kuai's name, he was still a little uncomfortable and angry. Xiao Qi said, "Is he expelled from the public house?" "Nonsense." Xiao Taiying glared at her. "His light body technique is superb. If he can be recruited into the public house, of course, we can't let him go." Xiao Qi nodded lightly. "Chu Li really has some skills." Xiao Taiying scoffed. "Jiang Kuai is so arrogant. It's not easy to be recruited into the public house." Xiao Qi said, "He can see through people's hearts and find their weaknesses to break through their defenses. Don't rush to arrange it. Let Jiang Kuai choose himself." Xiao Taiying said, "Chu Li will definitely convince Jiang Kuai to join the Glories Will courtyard." Xiao Qi smiled. "It's very possible." Lin Quan served 2 cups of tea and bowed to the side. Xiao Qi said to Lin Quan, "Lin Quan, you're getting on in years. Go to the martial arts hall and be a high official." Lin Quan smiled. "Thank you for your concern, Third Lady. I'm a wretch. Once I rest, I feel uncomfortable. My hands and feet are still nimble. Serving young master is the most comfortable." Sigh. Xiao Qi shook her head. Xiao Taiying smiled. "I'm really not used to not having Lin Quan by my side. Those girls are clumsy and an eyesore." Xiao Qi said, "Those girls are not as thoughtful as Lin Quan. Second eldest sister should find someone. With that temper of hers, who would she like?" Xiao Taiying sighed helplessly. Xiao Qi shook her head. "How can she not have a personal maid to serve her? It's too inconvenient." Xiao Shi did not have a personal maid by her side. She only had a group of maids to serve her. She had a strange temper and did not like people around her. She liked to be alone. Although it was leisurely, there were many inconveniences. If she had Su Ru, she did not have to worry about some trivial matters. Su Ru could handle it for her and she could focus on cultivation and handling the public house's affairs. It was too tiring to order her about trivial matters one by one. However, second eldest sister was happy with it. The few maids around her are quite capable. She can't stand other people. "It's useless to send someone over," Xiao Taiying said. Xiao Qi gently nodded. Xiao Taiying's eyes suddenly widened. "Third younger sister, you're not thinking of transferring Lin Quan to second eldest sister, are you? Big brother, are you willing to do that?" Xiao Qi pursed her lips and smiled. Xiao Taiying quickly shook his head. No. Then forget it. Big brother, I'll give second eldest sister the longevity grass in the afternoon." "I'll go first," Xiao Qi said. Go. Xiao Taiying impatiently waved his hand. Her words messed up his thoughts. He looked at Lin Quan and shook his head. No matter what, Lin Quan was a man. Even if he was old, he was still a man. Second eldest sister's personal maid must be a woman. Chu Li was cultivating in the pagoda, visualizing the art of White Tiger. Xiao Qi and Su Ru pushed open the door and entered the pagoda. They sat in front of him. Su Ru placed the black box on the stone table. Chu Li closed fist saluted and curiously looked at the black box. "You've gone up another rank. Rank 3. There's a spirit tiger's bone in here. Don't touch it," Xiao Qi said. "Tiger's bone?" Chu Li was surprised. Xiao Qi gently nodded. "This is your reward for retrieving the longevity grass. It should help you cultivate the art of White Tiger." Chu Li gently opened the black box. The aura was like a ferocious tiger pouncing on him. Chapter 137. Xiao Qi smiled faintly. Initially, she only needed Suru to send it over, but she was worried and wanted to personally remind him to not let him be reckless enough to take the risk and meet with an unexpected mishap. After they left, Chu Li returned to the gazebo and slowly opened the black box. The murderous aura surged out like a tidal wave, as if it had transformed into a ferocious tiger pouncing on him. It was frightening, and he could not help but want to turn around and run away. Chu Li reached out his hand and slowly approached the tiger's bones. He stopped a foot away from it. The cold air seeped into his body. His meridians and muscles felt as if they were being pierced by countless cold needles. It was extremely painful. He pulled his hand back and stared at the tiger bone, feeling the killing intent from it. Just a piece of bone was already so powerful and murderous. He could vaguely imagine how powerful a living spirit tiger would be. The sun-cultivating white tiger portrait required this kind of monstrous power. The more powerful the visualized white tiger was, the stronger and purer the power transmitted from the void would be, and the more powerful and pure the sun-cultivating white tiger portrait would be. Xueling was instructed by Chu Li to help Jiang Kuai and his family settle down. She let Su Yuding stay in the guest house first, and then brought Jiang Kuai to the public house to handle the formalities. Her white robe fluttered in the wind and her temperament was like ice and snow. She rowed the boat and brought Jiang Kuai to the martial arts hall. On the training field in front of the martial arts practice hall, the guards gathered in groups of 2s and 3s, sparring with each other or cultivating by themselves. Some practiced with the saber, some practiced with the sword, some practiced with the palm, and some practiced with the fist. As Xue stepped onto the shore, the bustling martial arts field slowly quietened down. The crowd made way for Xue to pass through the middle without having to make a detour. Xueling's jade face was solemn. She nodded slightly as a form of greeting to the crowd. Jiang Kuai followed beside her and was stared at by hundreds of people. So many unfriendly gazes made him very uncomfortable. After passing through the crowd, Jiang Kuai secretly heaved a sigh of relief and whispered, "Miss Xueling, what happened to them?" Xue said calmly, "My master is known as the youth champion. Brother Chu is so impressive?" Jiang Kuai was surprised. Xueling scoffed arrogantly, "Master, you earned your title as the #1 master through fighting. They all respect you." "He's really powerful," Jiang Kuai sighed. He could tell that there were quite a number of innate masters among these people. The strength of the High Duke's public house was indeed shocking. Xue walked gracefully. He brought him to the martial arts hall, explained the reason, and helped Jiang Kuai get his waist tag. "This is only the lowest grade of the guard's waist tag. We need to challenge the ranking tower," Xueling said. "Let's go, follow me." "The ranking tower?" Jiang Kuai asked. Xueling said, "The protectors in the public house only care about their martial arts and nothing else. The number of floors of the 9 ranks tower that they have passed is the rank of the protector. It all depends on one's own ability. Young Master Jiang, there is no need to hold back. The higher the rank, the higher the salary. A difference of 1 rank means a difference of several times." "All right." Jiang Kuai nodded slowly. He had just entered the public house. If he wanted to gain a foothold, of course, he had to show off his abilities. When he saw so many innate masters in the martial arts field, he felt pressured. The 2 of them arrived in front of the rank 9 bronze tower. The towering bronze tower exuded cold air and light under the sunlight. His aura was powerful and oppressive. "This is the ranking tower." Xueling raised her head and looked up. Every time she looked up, she could not help but feel humble. "Master Jiang can enter with the waist tag." "Miss Xueling, please wait for a moment." Jiang Kuai strode into the ranking tower. Xueling stood quietly in front of the ranking tower. The bright sunlight shone on her body warmed her, but her body was surrounded by a coldness that could not be dispersed. Her temperament was cold. In addition to cultivating the crescent cryptic, she always gave people a sense of coldness. As the crescent cryptic became more profound, the coldness on her body became stronger. Getting close to her would feel like immersing in a cold spring. There was no intention of profanity. Her personality was also affected by the crescent cryptic. She became colder and more indifferent. She did not care about anything. Her mind was completely placed in the small courtyard. Only in the small courtyard could she relax. When she was outside, it was as if her heart was wrapped in a layer of ice. It was difficult to move. 2 hours passed quickly. She suddenly raised her head and saw Jiang Kuai slowly walking out of the bronze door. His face was pale and it was difficult for him to walk. Xueling took out a bottle of pills and passed one to him. Are you hurt? I'm tired. Jiang Kuai smiled bitterly. Xueling said, This is a vitality pill. It recovers inner energy. Thank you. Jiang Kuai took it and swallowed it happily. He shook his head and smiled bitterly. It's really powerful. How many floors did Master Jiang pass? I didn't pass the 5th floor. Oh, then you passed the 4th floor. Rank 6. Amazing. Xueling praised. You're able to get to rank 6 on your first try. It's rare. You have a bright future. I won't be able to pass the 5th floor in a short period of time. Jiang Kuai took the vitality pill. Soon, hot air spread all over his body. He could not help but feel refreshed. The feeling of weakness was immediately dispelled. He secretly sighed. The vitality pill was far better than the pills he had taken. It was indeed the public house. Xueling smiled. Rank 6 is powerful enough. 800 taels of silver a month. Brother Chu is rank 4, Jiang Kuai said. Xueling shook her head. Master is a scribe. His salary is far worse than a protector's. A rank 4 scribe. Brother Chu is more powerful, Jiang Kuai said. Xueling said, Master has made countless contributions. Master Jiang, let's go to the small courtyard that you're staying in. They first picked up Su Yuding, who was staying in the guest house. Xueling rowed the boat and sent Jiang Kuai and Su Yuding to a small island. The island was full of green and surrounded by willow trees. The willow branches fluttered in the wind and the air was full of vitality. The 3 of them got off the boat and walked on a path surrounded by flowers. They arrived at a delicate small courtyard. Xueling pushed open the courtyard door. Master Jiang, Madam Jiang, this is your residence. Both of you can go in and have a look. If you're not satisfied, you can change to another room. Jiang Kuai smiled. Can I choose a courtyard? Xueling said, There are many courtyards in the public house. You can't choose all of them. Both of you don't have to rush. If you're not satisfied after staying for a while, you can change to another one. There are so many courtyards in the public house? Jiang Kuai asked doubtfully. Xueling said, There are many courtyards built in the public house. In addition, many protectors don't live in the public house, so it's very spacious. It's fine not to live in the public house? Xueling nodded. Protectors are very free. As long as they follow the public house's rules and complete their respective tasks, they can live wherever they want. Isn't the public house afraid? Jiang Kuai frowned. There were too many loopholes in this practice. The public house seemed to be defenseless and did not look strict at all. Xueling said, Master Jiang, are you worried about the public house's safety? Yes. Jiang Kuai nodded. Xueling said, Master, don't worry. Our public house is different from other public houses. It's built on a lake. There are many small islands and each island has its own weaknesses. If anyone wants to attack, I guarantee that they won't be able to leave. Jiang Kuai was skeptical. Xueling smiled. Since the public house was built, there have been many attempts to attack the public house but none of them succeeded. Why is that? Jiang Kuai asked. Is there a master guarding every island? Xueling said, Of course there are masters guarding the island. It's unpredictable and only the 3rd lady knows about it. It's a secret. I see. Jiang Kuai nodded slowly. Su Yuding entered the small courtyard and looked around. There was a flower garden, a bamboo forest, and a small pagoda. It was quiet and pleasant. The decorations were very elegant. The furniture in the house was antique. The style was simple and natural. At first glance, one could tell that it was made of expensive wood. It was made by a master craftsman. There was luxury in the simplicity. Su Yuding liked it at first glance. She smiled. Xueling saw that they were satisfied, so she helped them find a maid to take care of their daily life. Jiang Kuai officially became a protector of the public house. He could go to the martial arts hall and make some friends. Chapter 138. Master. Shui stepped forward and called out softly. Chu Li turned to look at her. Is everything arranged? Shui was shocked and her body froze. His gaze was like a cold sword piercing into her body. She felt like she had fallen into an ice cellar and could not move. Chu Li noticed that something was wrong. He retracted his gaze and waved his hand. I'm sorry. Are they staying? Yes. Shui let out a sigh of relief. Her heart was pounding. The feeling just now was too scary. Chu Li closed the black box. How many floors did Brother Jiang Kuai pass? He's a rank 6 protector now. Shui said. His martial arts is very powerful. Where did you find him? Chu Li laughed. Brother Jiang Kuai is the famous celestial monkey in the martial arts world. It's normal for him to reach rank 6. Are they satisfied? I think they are. Shui said. Madame Jiang especially likes him. Chu Li nodded. Go visit them often. After all, it's their first time here and they need help. It's hard to take care of them with just one maid. Yes. Shui said. Should I get 2 more people to help? No need. Chu Li said. They'll slowly get used to it. All right, you can go. Shui pointed at the black box. What is this? Tiger bones. Chu Li smiled. Don't touch it. You'll die if you touch it. Master, you were so scary. I was fighting with its murderous aura. You came at the right time. Do you still watch the tiger portraits every day? Of course. Shui nodded. She felt that watching the tiger portraits was very effective. She was getting more and more courageous. She no longer felt guilty and short of breath. She was also much calmer. More importantly, she felt that she could push her inner energy faster. Chu Li nodded in satisfaction. I'll get another one tomorrow. Thank you, Master. Shui knew that these tiger portraits were treasures. Most people would not be willing to show them to others. Chu Li waved his hand. Shui went into the kitchen to cook. Ever since Jiang Kuai entered the public house, Chu Li did not show up. He sat in the small courtyard and looked at the tiger bones. He felt the murderous aura and strengthened the tiger visualized in the sun-cultivating white tiger portrait. He could feel the power coming from the void getting stronger like a raging wave. He wanted to devour himself. His body was getting stronger, his strength was increasing, and his speed was getting faster. The power of the sentient menace had also increased by a lot, as it was enhanced by the sun-cultivating white tiger portrait. The infinite azure sea easily stacked 5 times. Chu Li sighed to himself. This piece of tiger bone had helped him a lot. He always had the urge to touch the tiger bone, but there was always a warning in his heart, telling him not to touch it or his life would be in danger. He believed in his intuition and had been suppressing his impulses. He only watched and sensed at a close distance, but never touched it. When Chu Li was free, he would help Shui Ling with her cultivation. His progress was extraordinarily fast. The biggest drawback of the crescent tactic was that it took a long time to activate, but in front of his powerful mental energy, the crescent tactic could be easily activated without any hindrance. With his help, Shui Ling's 1 day of practice was equivalent to a month's worth of practice. After a month, she had already broken through her acupuncture points and completed her acquired mastery. She was only 1 step away from the innate mastery. Shui Ling was a little impatient. She could not reach the entrance. He could not find the path to the innate realm. She knew that the innate mastery was an iron gate. 8 out of 10 people would fail before the innate mastery. She was only able to reach the entrance of the innate mastery so quickly because of Master Chu Li's help. If she were to rely on her own cultivation, she might not be able to reach this stage even after 8 to 10 years. Thinking of this, she was not in a hurry. She took her time. She could always find the entrance. Early in the morning, Chu Li finished his cultivation and sat in the pagoda. He took the jade cup from Xue Ling and suddenly pointed at the stone block opposite him. "Sit down and talk." Xue Ling sat opposite him. Her snow-white gown was spotless. Her face was as white as jade and her eyes were as bright as the lake. She looked at him curiously. "Master?" Chu Li said, "Are you stuck at the entrance of the innate mastery recently?" "Yes," Xue Ling said helplessly. "I can't reach the entrance no matter what. I can't feel it at all." She had asked Zhao before. Before breaking through to the innate mastery, there would be an inexplicable feeling. She could vaguely feel the existence of the entrance. She could not feel it at all. It seemed like it was still far away. Chu Li said, "Your heart is not calm. It's hard to feel it." "Then how do I calm down?" Xue Ling asked. Chu Li smiled. "When you don't think about the innate mastery, then you can calm down." "How is that possible?" Xue Ling shook her head. She had always wanted to break through to the innate mastery. She thought about it day and night. No matter what, she could not give up. Chu Li said, "With your personality, it's hard to break through to the innate mastery. The more stubborn one was, the harder it was to calm down. If one's heart was not calm enough, and the degree of calmness was not deep enough, then one would not be able to reach the entrance and find the path to innate mastery. The reason why the innate mastery was hard to break through and blocked most people was not purely because of one's aptitude. It was also because of one's temperament. When one really gave up on the innate mastery and let go of his stubbornness, his heart could truly calm down. The degree of calmness would be deep and the entrance would naturally be revealed. However, if one gave up immediately and had no desires, then one would not be able to reach the innate mastery. Searching hard, giving up dejectedly, deep despair was like giving up hope. This moment was the state of extreme yin and birth of yang. It was the best time to see the entrance and embark on the path to innate mastery. The deeper the degree of searching, the deeper the degree of calmness when giving up. It was just like the enlightenment of Buddhism. If one did not search hard and gave up directly, the degree of calmness would not be achieved. However, this best time was fleeting. Very few people could grasp it. This was the reason why there was no guidance to break through to the innate mastery. If it was said in advance, then one would not be able to reach the state of extreme yin and birth of yang. They would not be able to break through to the innate mastery. Therefore, it could not be said because it would be harming the other. Moreover, Chu Li was the only one who could come up with this conclusion. Most people entered the innate mastery without knowing how or why they entered. Chu Li had a different way of thinking from this world. His Buddhist base was profound and his observation of the mysterious state of mind was meticulous. He had seen through the mystery of innate mastery. Chu Li could enter the innate mastery without any hindrance. It was not because of his state of mind, but because of his profound meditation. His degree of calmness was extremely deep. With a little exploration, he found the entrance and stepped onto the path to innate mastery. Xue's personality was firm and persistent. She would not give up no matter what, so she would not be able to enter the innate mastery. Chu Li could not just watch her walk around like a blind person. It would be futile. If she relied on herself, she would not be able to enter the innate mastery even after 8 to 10 years. Xue was not convinced. "Master, then I can't enter the innate mastery?" Chu Li said, "If there are no accidents, you won't be able to enter." "Why?" Xue asked. Chu Li smiled. Xue bit her red lips. "Master, then can you help me?" Chu Li laughed. Xue rolled her eyes at him. She believed what Chu Li said. Moreover, she did not have much confidence in herself. If he said that she could not pass, then it would not be wrong. However, looking at his expression, he could help her. She could still care about her pride and face in front of others. However, in front of Chu Li, she had long thrown away these things. Chu Li said, "All right, I'll lend you a hand." Xue was overjoyed. Thank you, master. Let's go to my quiet room. Chu got up and left the pagoda. He went to the west room of the main hall. The two of them sat on the couch. Shui sat cross-legged, her hands forming a mudra. She looked solemn. Chapter 139. Shui could only feel her heart sinking. It was as if she had fallen into an abyss. Slowly, she sank to the bottom of the abyss. Her vision was filled with darkness. Time seemed to have stopped. She did not know how long she had been in the darkness. Her brain froze, and so did time and space. She did not know when she woke up. There was a dot of starlight shining in front of her. It was twinkling like the stars in the night sky. She moved her mind, and an idea came to her mind. She went closer to the starlight. As she got closer, the starlight turned into a ball of light. There was a door in the light. She could not help but focus and enter the light door. Then, a loud bang rang in her ears. All 7,800 acupoints in her body were opened. She blended with heaven and earth. She was the mountain, the sea, and the earth. Activating the difficult crescent cryptic became smooth and smooth. She continuously absorbed the energy from heaven and earth. The feeling of fullness and vigor filled her body. She wanted to scream to the sky to relieve the joy in her heart. She opened her bright eyes. Her eyes flashed and slowly retracted. "Thank you, master." Chu had already retracted his finger. He smiled. "Your comprehension is not bad." Shui immediately smiled. "Master, am I an innate master?" Chu nodded. Shui sighed. "So this is the innate master's boundary. It's really different." She felt that her cultivation level had increased by 10 times. The inner energy of the crescent cryptic flowed continuously like a river. There was a huge amount of power in her body. It was as if she could break the sky with one punch. Chu said, "Practice the dark Yin palm for the next few days. Consolidate your cultivation level. The feeling of omnipotence is just an illusion." "Yes," Shui quickly agreed. Her feeling of floating disappeared. She calmed down. It seemed that this feeling of omnipotence was a normal phenomenon. It was not unique to her. Innate masters were not invincible. Chu waved his hand. Shui stood up and left. She left Chu-Li's quiet room and went to the courtyard. She began to practice the dark Yin palm. She felt the difference in an instant. The dark Yin palm was performed more smoothly and naturally. There were some parts that she did not understand before. Now that she understood it, her palm technique became more and more smooth. It was light and elegant. As she performed it, her body quickly cooled down. The inner energy could be transferred through object. It was indeed different. The power of the dark Yin palm could be fully unleashed. The power of the dark Yin palm had several layers. The first layer would slow down the opponent's internal energy and movement technique. Once the opponent came into contact with her internal energy, they would be frozen. The next layer would freeze their heart and kill them instantly. The next layer would hurt them invisibly. A trace of extremely pure Yin internal energy would destroy the balance of the entire body's 5 viscera and 6 bowels. The imbalance of Yin and Yang would be fatal. In the following days, other than going to the martial arts hall to visit Madame Jiang, she also spent her time in the courtyard practicing martial arts, becoming more and more adept at practicing the mysterious Yin palm. On the other hand, Chu had been observing the tiger bones, condensing his aura and increasing the effect of the art of white tiger. As the tiger's aura grew stronger, his body became stronger and stronger. His strength and speed continued to increase, and he sighed inwardly at the power of the sun cultivating white tiger portrait. The sun cultivating white tiger portrait was indeed an ancient lost art. It was said that the ancient lost art could fight against the spirit beasts without falling into a disadvantageous position. In the end, the spirit beasts were driven into the 100,000 hills. From then on, martial arts declined day by day. Chu Li speculated that the spirit beasts entering the 100,000 hills might be the root cause. Without the oppression of the spirit beasts, the potential of human life and death could not be stimulated. More importantly, martial arts were born from the spirit beast. However, people nowadays did not know what the spirit beasts looked like, nor could they feel the aura of the spirit beast. Instead of drawing a tiger, it became a dog. Hence, the power of martial arts was greatly reduced. The enlightened mastery's boundary was getting harder and harder. If one wanted to step into the enlightened mastery's boundary, he might have to enter the 100,000 hills. However, the spirit beasts ran rampant in the 100,000 hills. Anyone below the enlightened mastery's boundary would die. To survive in the 100,000 hills, one would need the luck of the heaven and earth bell. Chu Li thought to himself that his luck was not bad. Otherwise, he would not have reincarnated into this world. He retained the memories of his past life and cultivated the omniscient mirror. However, he did not dare to take the risk and enter the 100,000 hills. Unfortunately, the knowledge from his past life was still useless. All that was left was the way of thinking that was different from this world. In the early morning, Xue Ling saw Chu Li studying the bone in the pagoda. She knew that he would study it for the entire morning and would not pay attention to anyone. So, she left the courtyard and sailed to the martial arts hall. She wanted to look for some secret manuals to read. After stepping into the innate mastery's boundary, her vision and feelings were different. She had a different feeling when she looked at the secret manuals. The breeze caressed her face and the surface of the lake was clear. She wore a bluish-white gown and leisurely sailed on the lake. After a quarter of an hour, she stopped the boat and docked at the bustling martial arts field. Her clear eyes swept across the crowd and saw Jiang Kuai in the crowd. Jiang Kuai had a lot of experience and he had the ability to talk to people and ghosts. In just a few days, he had completely integrated into the public house's protectors. He made a few friends and went out to drink from time to time. They put their arms around each other's shoulders and lived like a fish in water. Xue Ling admired Jiang Kuai's smoothness. He could put down his pride. He was a top-notch master and his light body technique was unparalleled. If it were her, she would not even bother with those guys. Even master could not be like Jiang Kuai. He did not like to talk and this was not very likable. It was difficult for him to hang out with others. As soon as Xue Ling stepped into the martial arts field, everyone's eyes focused on her. Jiang Kuai strode towards her and smiled. "Miss Xue, why do you have the time to come over today? Where's Brother Chu?" "Master is busy." Xue Ling shook her head. "Brother Jiang, are you doing well?" Hee. Jiang Kuai was in high spirits and smiled. "I found a few like-minded people. It's not bad." "Oh right, Miss Xue, can you help me take a look? What kind of mission should I take?" He was wary and repulsed by the public house. He had no choice but to come in because of his wife. After coming in for a few days, he realized that he was making a fuss out of nothing. He thought too highly of himself. These protectors were not mediocre. They lived freely and came and went as they pleased. As long as they completed enough missions and did not violate the public house's rules, they could do whatever they wanted. No one would care. They could even go out and play for a month or two without a problem. This was because the mission statistics were calculated at the end of the year. He had been studying what kind of mission to take these few days. He could not do the business he used to do. He spent money like water and he needed to have some income. The reward for each mission was very high. If he took one, he would not have to worry about food and drink. Moreover, it was uncomfortable to be idle. Xue Ling said, "You can find a patrolling mission. It's safe and you can familiarize yourself with Chongming Town. It'll help you adapt to the public house faster." Patrolling? Jiang Kuai pondered. There were many patrolling missions but there were only a few people who took up patrolling missions. It was very quiet. Most people did not want to take up this kind of mission that was not exciting and the reward was not high. Xueling glanced at him. Brother Jiang, you think patrolling is boring? Jiang Kuai smiled. Everyone doesn't like this mission. Xueling said, that's true. They're used to doing exciting missions. Patrolling missions are really boring. After 10 days, it's not as good as a day outside. Jiang Kuai smiled. What's so special about patrolling missions? Nothing. Xueling shook her head. All these years, there are very few people who are stupid enough to break the law in Chongming Town. Patrolling the town is similar to a night watchman, so the reward is not high. Actually, it's to take care of the protectors. Some protectors are tired and don't want to go out and experience hardships anymore. They want to live a stable life, so they just take up this mission. The public house is really considerate, Jiang Kuai praised. He gradually felt that the public house was generous and generous. The way they handled things was admirable and people were willing to serve them. It was far from being as overbearing and oppressive as he thought. Xueling smiled. Brother Jiang, you're new here. It's better to start with the easy missions and slowly familiarize yourself with them. There's still time, there's no need to rush. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.